Well, happy Friday, everyone. You know what that means? Another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you're gracing us with your presence, welcome. Super happy to have you here. Now, on your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and believe it or not, I will work through them in the order that they come in. Sometimes with the answers, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care, even with it being the fall. All right, guys, so as always, I'm coming to you guys live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Instagram is not directly integrated with the stream, so if those of you guys that are on Instagram, if you guys want to have a question, feel free to drop that in, and I'll just bounce back and forth between the YouTube stream and Instagram and get your questions and comments as well. Guys, it's been a fun time of year, man. I got to tell you that the weather is it's staying cool. The grass is definitely starting to go dormant. I'm not sure how it's doing in you guys' parts of the country, but here in Northeast Georgia, the grass is starting to check out. It's a sad time, but also a bit of a fun time. You get a little bit of relaxing, which is nice. Just football, Formula One, you know, that type of thing. All right, so let's see what we have in the live stream this evening. Our first question of the night comes from Mr. Patrick in Texas. He says, is there any advantage to adding feature to your standard program? More is always better. Well, Patrick, if you're going to be using feature, which if I understand correctly, that's an iron product, I wouldn't be adding other products that also contain iron. More is not always better when it comes to the nutrients that you put into your soil. You know, there's a certain balance between the macros and the micronutrients that are ideal to get the correct result with your grass type, and too much is gonna produce a negative result. So can you use feature in your lawn care program? Sure, no problem with that at all. But I would not use feature regularly and then also still be using a micronutrient on top of that also contains iron. That would be overdoing it. Now, the thing about this, Patrick, I would say is that I personally have not used that particular product feature. I used to use a product though called Brent Supreme Green. It's kind of hard to find these days. I'm not sure if they even make it anymore. And that product, if memory serves me, had between 4 to 5% iron in it. And it's a great product. It did produce a nice green pop, but I actually did an experiment. This was several years ago, probably 5 years ago at this point, where I did a heavy application of Brent Supreme Green, and also a heavy application of a fertilizer that contained iron in it as well. So it was like Milorganite and Brent Supreme Green. And I wanted to see what the results would be. Kind of like, to answer your question, is more always better when it comes to iron? And what I found is when I applied the Milo, applied the heavy application of the iron product, is a couple days later, the lawn became the darkest, most lush, beautiful green you've ever seen. A few days after that, it became darker and darker, and it became almost like a grayish purple color. So it didn't look great. I mean, it looked like something was weird was going on with the lawn. And then that went away, and then it went back to a nice color, to a nice green, and then it went back to how it normally looks just from a standpoint of color. So by overdoing it, it's not like if you're going to get this deep green that's going to be consistent. If you are, if you're trying to have an extra green pop for an event, right? Say you got, family coming over for the weekend, you got friends or family coming over, and it's like this, summertime, and you want to have the lawn looking an absolute fire, looking its absolute best, for the company that's coming over. Like, I could see doing like a supplemental iron application for that, but that is, that's like the exception rather than the rule. Like, I'm not a fan of going like crazy heavy on iron applications. Really, much more than 3% iron, I don't think is really necessary, especially if you're doing it as part of a spoon feeding program every couple of weeks. So yeah, I mean, your mileage may vary. If you want to try it out, give it a go. You can probably find the series that I did on YouTube. If you look up like Ron Henry, like Milorganite and iron, or Brent Supreme Green and iron, I can see if I can actually find the video and send it to you, because it actually shows what happened. But with your lawn, you might, the results might be a little bit different. But I would not encourage you to over apply iron or any nutrient on a regular basis. Again, if you have an event, you have someone coming over and you want to look, that extra pop of green, you want to do an additional iron app for that, a couple days leading up to that, fine. But as far as a way of constantly feeding the lawn, I don't think that's a great idea. So hope that helps, sir. Appreciate the question. Thanks. Great. It's a great question to start the evening off with as well. And I guess you're just thinking about it for next year, right? Because you're in Texas, and I would imagine your lawns are kind of like mine, that it's starting to go dormant now. So I don't think that you're going to be pushing too much iron this time of year. But great question. Great way to start off the show. All right. Next up. Patrick says, "What's up, lawn peeps? Crazy lawn peeps." And then another question he has, this is a good one. He says, "And how long will iron stay in the soil? It will be interesting to see my next soil test." It depends. Every soil is different. So if you have more of a sandy soil where nutrients tend to leach through the soil more quickly, the iron is not going to stick around nearly as long. If you have a clay soil or like a loam soil that does a better job holding on the nutrients than, say, a sandy soil, then it's going to be there longer. What you're saying is exactly how I would determine that. Your soil test is going to tell you. Like, every lawn is different. Every soil can be different, especially when you're talking about from different regions. So it's not like I could say, hey, if you do an iron application, you can expect it to stick around in the soil for 6 weeks, 2 months, or whatever it is, right? It's going to be different from everyone, and your soil test results will be the way to tell you that. This is another reason why I'm a big fan of using like a liquid micronutrient, so something like Nutrizolve, every couple of weeks, because you're putting in very, very light, like low rates, and you're getting the nice color response. The color stays consistent throughout the growing season, and at the same time, you're not putting like a heavy application of iron into the soil where you're building it up over time. You know what I mean? So that's why, again, I'm a fan of a little bit and often, versus trying to to throw large amounts of any nutrient at the soil in a given time. So your soil test will tell you. Do pull some cores and send out a sample before you decide to take on this program. And then you can do it for, if you want to test it out for a couple of months. And before you do your next major fertilization, you can do another, you can pull another set of cores and send those in, and then look at the delta, look at the difference of how the soil changes over time. I'd say give it 3 months. So if you did it, you say you started like in March, I would pull cores like the end of May, like go leading into June, and that would give you a good idea of, how is it affecting the nutrient levels in the soil. So hope that helps, sir. Great question. And again, thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream this evening. I really do appreciate it. So let's see what we got here on the gram. We got Kilo, we got Mackenzie Jones. What's going on, Mackenzie? I saw the homecoming pictures. They look pretty awesome. Thanks for coming and stopping and say hello. Tell your parents to say hi. So we got Bond Broker Life, and Turf Nurse has joined the live stream as well. So thank you guys for coming to hang out. Appreciate you. All right, next up is Jared George. He says, I could probably get another mow in, but I think I'll let my lawn go to sleep now. Already got the scalp on my mind. Question, can I scalp down to the dirt using my string trimmer in the spring? Get the clippings after. I mean, can you? I guess technically yes, but it's not how I would go about it. So here's why, Jared. A string trimmer is not going to produce as clean a cut as what a lawnmower or a mower with a sharp blade is going to do. So as a way of edging your lawn, it's fine because you're limiting like that tearing action to a relatively small part of the lawn. But I wouldn't do that over your entire lawn. If for nothing, it's not going to look good. Like you're not going to get an even cut using a string trimmer. It's going to be harder on the turf because you're tearing more at the grass than you are actually cutting it. So if it were me, I would get a lawnmower and use that to scalp. Even if you have to go out and rent one, you can always rent a mower and use it for that purpose. That is the way I would go versus using a string trimmer. It's also going to save you a lot of headache as well too. Like you're talking about using a string trimmer to scalp the entire lawn and then going out picking up the clippings afterwards. That second part of the question, I'll get the clippings after. Like you're saying that pretty lightly, but that's a lot of work. Take it from someone that has raked my entire lawn like several times, like manually. It's a lot of work to try and get clippings off the lawn once they're there. So again, from an efficiency standpoint, getting a mower, with a bagger on it and then scalping the lawn using that to where all the clippings are caught, or the majority of the clippings are caught in the grass catcher, is just going to save you a lot of time and headache. So for a bunch of reasons, I wouldn't use a string trimmer to do your entire lawn. I mean, again, borders would be fine, but to the entire lawn, I wouldn't go that route. And I would go for the mower. So hope that helps, sir. And yeah, if you want to stop mowing the lawn now, given the time of year that the temperatures are getting cooler, starting to go dormant, that's fine. I get it. I've definitely slowed down on mine. I'm mowing my lawn maybe once a week now as it sits in. And then, as it begins to go dormant, whenever I got to scratch that itch, I'll get out there and I'll run them over it just to kind of clean it up, make it look nice, reset the stripes, make them look good. You know what I mean? So yeah. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, do let me know. What's going on, Shauna? Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Appreciate you. Next is Larry. Larry's in the house. He says, hello, Ron. It's another great Friday, ready for another informational stream. Should I be thinking of adding more fertilizer after a mow or two? So in your case, your lawn is, you did the fescue overseed, and your lawn is still looking great. You sent me pictures before the show, and it's looking awesome. And yeah, as long as the lawn is still actively growing, and you're mowing it, then yeah, you can continue to feed it. For us here in the Southeast US, where our lawns are starting to go dormant, then no, adding more fertilizer, adding more nitrogen at this point is not a great idea, or I'm not a fan of doing that. Given where you are in the country and given your grass type, and that is, again, it's living its best life right now. You can still feed it. You still can absolutely feed it. If you guys want to check out Larry's lawn, he sent me some pictures. Surely you don't mind if I share the pictures, Larry. So you guys remember from last week, he sent pictures of his seeding project, and this is what he's looking like now. So if let's do the before and after from like week to week, because it's been 17 days since he did this fescue overseed. So last week, this is what his lawn looked like, the same areas. I mean, that's not bad. You're not going to hate on that, right? That's also looking good. You can see a few bare spots here and there. And then finally we have that. Now, from last week to this week, as of today, this is how that same lawn looks, the same pictures, same angles and everything. You can see that's a lot thicker. Color looks incredible. Really liking that, Larry. And then that's also filled in really nicely. And then the final picture you sent was with it roped off, and that looks really quality as well too. So so great work. So I can show like a before and after of if I can find the right picture. So yeah, so that's last week, and then this is this week. So last week, this week. So yeah, it's definitely in just 7 days. It's whatever you're doing, it definitely enjoys it. So keep it up, Larry. And again, yeah, I know you're gonna start mowing soon. You asked me some question about when you can start mowing the lawn. If you're still mowing it, you can continue to feed it. So I would absolutely still feed that lawn, given that again it's actively growing and you're gonna start here mowing it pretty soon. So great work. We can clap it up, man. Congrats on a successful fescue overseeding project. At least someone's got green grass this time of year, right? Because us here in Georgia, we certainly don't have it. All right, next up, I have a question from Shauna. So Shauna553 from Instagram is chiming in. She says, how bad is it on a reel to scalp the lawn down to prepare for spring wake up? Would it need a back lap after? Awesome question, Shauna. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough on the mower. So if you take it down, especially if you're low, like a lot of people like to take it down to the dirt or just above, to where occasionally you might be hitting the dirt. That's pretty hard on the reel, to where you're going to want to do at minimum a back lap, and in most cases you're going to want to do a grind afterwards. So what I will tend to do, my sequence is for the mower that I use for the majority of the cutting throughout the season, like say my Greensmaster and also the Owlet, like those will get freshened up this time of year and get put to bed. The True Cut is what's used for scalping whenever I decide to do that. And I will, like, the mower's not going to get sharpened over the season or sharpened now, and then I'll scalp the lawn with it, and then I'll send it in to get freshened up. So I would plan for again, a minimum a back lap, possibly even a grind after you do your spring scalp. It's just a good idea, because you are putting some wear and tear on the reel and bed knife, and then now that the lawn has been scalped, you're getting this fresh growth. Now, if you do a fresh grind or back lap on the mower, now you're set up for several months into the season. As long as you keep the mower out of the dirt and you're only cutting grass with it, most people are able to get pretty far into the season with a fresh grind on a mower. Maybe a back lap, once or twice throughout the season. But yeah, to answer your question, I absolutely would freshen up the mower after your spring scalp. It's just a good idea. Otherwise, what'll start happening is you'll cut a mower you'll cut the grass with a dull mower, and it's going to be tearing at it. It's going to be pinching at the grass. You increase the likelihood of disease problems, and probably the most important part is it's just not going to look good. Like, you'll cut the grass and it's going to have like this brown, ugly haze after you're done mowing it, because you're not getting that clean cut, which is what produces that nice visual result. So hope that helps. Awesome question. Need anything else? Let me know. So yes, there is no free lunch, Shauna. Listen, man, you want that fire stripe action. You want the lawn looking as absolute best. You want your lawn to wake up before the neighbors, hence why you're doing the spring scalp. You also want it to look its best. Like, there's a price to be paid. There's a price to be paid, and it's going to be in whatever it costs to get your mower back lapped or ground. So there you go. So hope that helps. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. Next up, we got Phyllis Lawrence. Phyllis says, "Happy Friday, Ron and fellow lawn connoisseurs." I think Phyllis coined that. The lawn connoisseur thing, that's a Phyllisism. We'll say that, right? She says, "Touch that like button. My thirsty lawn is loving the rain in San Antonio, Texas. Looking forward to another excellent stream. Thank you for all you do." I really do appreciate that, Phyllis. And I'm glad to hear in Texas that we've now transitioned back to plentiful rainfall, because the way it normally starts out with the folks in Texas, I'm not saying that all folks in Texas are this way, but there's a common theme that tends to happen throughout the year. The first part of the year, springtime, is like, Lord, we have so much rain. It's another flood. What's going to happen? There's too much rain. The lawn is flooding. And then the summer hits and like, oh, Lord, it's like a desert. The lawn's drying out. It's parched. I'm giving up. The amount of emails I got from folks in Texas in the late June, early July timeframe was where they said, I'm done. I'm giving up. I'll just wait till like August to start caring about my lawn again. And then we transition to the fall, to where it's raining again. Now you guys are all happy. So you guys, it's like a constant, it's a thing. It's like an ebb and flow with the folks in Texas with your lawns. You guys aren't happy throughout the entire season. It's like too much rain, not enough rain, too much rain. Or you seem like you're happy about it in the fall. So maybe the fall is when you guys are actually happy. But in the rain, in the springtime, there's definitely some complaining about excess rainfall. In the summer, it's the common theme is there is no rain. And then in the fall, I guess fall is just right. So not too hot, not too cold. In the fall, it's just right. Appreciate you, Phyllis, and thank you guys for hitting that like button. It really does mean a lot. It's a free way to support the channel. So if you guys would not mind hitting that like button ever so gently, I really would appreciate it. Sends good vibes to YouTube and sends more folks our way to come talking about lawn care, right? Which is always a good thing. All right, next up we got Neil White. Neil says, hey, Ron, hope you're doing well. I am. I cannot complain. It's been a good week. Should be a fun weekend. Says, I've noticed a lot of worm castings on my zoysia. Is this harmful to the grass? I've gone out daily to wash them away with a hose just in case they are. No issues at all with worm castings, Neil. So that's a byproduct of earthworm activity in your soil. It's like nature's natural aeration, and it's nothing to worry about. I don't go out and do anything special to try and get rid of the earthworm castings. Whenever I go out to mow and they're there, I just run over them with my mower, like the front roller will knock them down, and I just go on about my day. I would not try and do anything to try and eliminate earthworms. They are a good thing for your soil. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, it's not bad. You don't need to run out there with a hose and try and get rid of them. It's just nature's natural aerator, I guess making its presence known. So I get that they can be kind of unsightly. I get that, but it's just par for the course. It's a good thing. It's a sign of healthy soil. So I really wouldn't worry about worm castings. I know they look kind of ugly, but just run over them with your mower when you mow your grass, and then you don't have to worry about it, right? Good stuff. All right, next up we have J Bear. J Bear's in the house, not Jackie Bear. J Bear, he's trying to be hip, trying to be cool. He says, have an excellent stream, brother. Go Texas Rangers. I guess we are getting close to the World. Actually, it is the World Series, right? So who was it that was telling me they wrote in saying that they were upset? I don't think it was Phyllis. It was someone last week. I think it was Phyllis. Someone was talking about last week about their Phillies. The Phillies lost. So now it's the Rangers and who is it? I think Arizona is the Diamondbacks. I think they're in the World Series. So yeah, go for it. I guess, I used to be a Houston Astros fan many moons ago. I stopped really following baseball. I think I've already told the story a couple of times. I stopped following baseball. It was in the 90s whenever they had their strike and there's like no real baseball for a while. And that really irritated me. And so I just I'm done. I'm not doing baseball anymore. And I just have never really gotten back into it. But it's good to see another Texas team, right? Stros, and then now the Rangers. So that's cool to see that Texas is having a good few years in baseball. Thanks so much, Jackie, for the well wishes. I do appreciate it very much, and I will do my best to try and keep the stream as entertaining and as fun to watch as humanly possible. All right, moving on. Oliver Rittam is in the house. Oliver says, good evening, Ron and gang. Got a nice green up with 5.5 inches of rain we received. You see, guys, it's a common theme. The Oklahoma, Texas crowd, they're happy. They're living their best life right now. They're getting the rainfall. They're happy about it. He says, more to come tonight and this weekend. Sunday night forecast to drop to 34 degrees. The lawn and me are bracing for the impact. Yeah, the fun's about to be over, Oliver. The fun's about to be over. So here's what I would tell you. If you are, once that cold hits, be careful. Obviously I know you're good about your mowing height, but don't make any, major heights of cut changes. Don't adjust heights of cut or anything like that if you want to preserve that green. Because if you lower the mower down even a little bit, it's as far as the color returning with the temps in the 30s, it's gonna be a lot longer if they return at all. So if you're trying to maintain the little bit of green you have, trying to hold on to it as much as possible, keep either your same height of cut, or you might, if you want, you may even bump it up just a little bit to try and maintain it a little bit longer, but under no circumstances do you want to lower it if you want to maintain that green. So good stuff. Glad to hear you're finally getting plenty of rain and that life is good in your part of the country. Next up is Jared. He says, Ron, working on my budget for next season. Primo is a must for me to try. Besides that, if you could tell me just one more product to help me, just one more, which would you advise? Thanks, Ron. Oh man, that's a tough one. So you're doing Primo. Outside of Primo, like regular fertilization, like regular feeding. You know what I mean? That's going to be it. And if you could only do one, Primo Max and Humic Max. That's what I would say. A quality granular fertilizer and your growth regulator. So that's what I would say. It's kind of tough to nail me down, and you're the one product I'm assuming you're asking me from a standpoint of like visual appearance, and we're not doing preventative stuff, so you're cutting out fungicides, you're cutting out insecticides from me, you're cutting out biostimulants from me. So I'm going to say if you only do one thing, Humic Max. Humic Max granular fertilizer and Primo Max. So that would be it. I would still encourage you to incorporate the other things. I still think that biostimulants are hugely important to a great lawn care program. I think that a preventative fungicide and insecticide app are also cheap insurance or something you should consider doing. But if you're saying I can only have one thing, then I guess Humic Max. But I'm not endorsing or encouraging that. I'm just answering your question. So hope that helps, Jared. If I were you, I would try, if you can, try and extend the budget a little bit more, and add some of those other products. I mean, if anything else, spoon feeding, like it really does make a big difference visually in how the lawn looks. While you can get a great looking lawn just using Humic Max just by itself, like that once a month application, if you can also, start stacking like the 901C carbon kit and Primo Max with that, so where you're spraying on the 1st and the 15th, you're really gonna like the way the lawn looks. And the nice thing the reason why I'd say that's a good idea as well, is you're gonna be out there anyway, right? If you're doing Primo or you're doing growth regulator the way that I recommend doing it, you're gonna be spraying on the 1st and again on the 15th. You're gonna be spraying the lawn anyway. So why not have something else in the tank as well? And the carbon kit is a great option. So from a granular standpoint, Humic Max, and if you're talking about one liquid product, I'm gonna do two. I'm gonna say one granular product, one liquid product, Humic Max for your granular, and for your liquid, the 901C carbon kit. Okay, final answer. I know you said only one, and I kind of gave one, but it's in just two different categories. All right, next up, we got Trevor Johnson. He says, happy Friday, Ron and all. Got my AP in hand, watching some F1 practice in the background and waiting for the Rangers to start. Going to be a great weekend. Have a great stream. Yeah. Oh, so the first game is tonight? It shows you how much I know. Right, it'll probably be low attendance on the live stream tonight, right? Because of the Rangers game. On the topic of F1, I think if I can find the picture. A viewer sent me a cool picture of him and his wife attending a Formula One race. I'm gonna see if I can find it here on the stream. They actually went to the Circuit of the Americas race this past weekend. So if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Actually, it was you, Trevor. It was you. It was actually you. So here we go. So he sent a picture of him and his better half living it up at the Circuit of America out there in Austin, doing it up, being all fancy. And I have to say, you know what I mean? When you're at an event, right, it's not so much only to be there to back folks, back your team and take into Formula One, but you also got to look the part. Y'all got to make sure you got to coordinate. You got to coordinate. You got to make sure, you're all properly attired. And I got to tell you guys, man, y'all were doing it right. You guys were doing it. Look at you guys. You got your Mercedes hats on. You got your Mercedes, your T-shirt. Looking good, man. It's looking clean. Very, very, very clean. Nicely done. So I guess you're a Mercedes fan. And you asked me who do I like in as far as Formula One. So I do like Lewis. I like him as a driver. I like his driving style, and I like Max because I grew up in the Netherlands Antilles. Like the island that I grew up on is called St. Eustatius in the Dutch Antilles, and Max is from Holland. So I got to back I guess my youth, like countryman of my youth. So I got to back him. But I also like Lewis too. I still say, here's the thing, not to derail the conversation too much. I'm of the opinion that I think Formula One would be really, really interesting to see if you could put Max, Lewis, and Alonso in the same car, because Max's car is arguably the best car. I'm not saying that Max is not an amazing driver. He's an awesome driver. But the car does really make a big difference in Formula One. So if you put Max, Lewis, and Alonso in the same car, that would be a fun race to watch. That would be really, really, really cool because Max, he's awesome. He's younger, he's faster, better reflexes and everything else, and he's very aggressive. But Lewis is not to be played with, man. I mean, he's up there. He's he can get it done too. So I think the problem with Formula One is it's so like whichever team does the best research and spends the most money and gets the formula right. Kind of play on words, gets the formula right that weekend is the one that's going to win. But Red Bull is just they got Adrian Newey. They're just consistently better than everybody else. And you pair that with a driver that doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes like Verstappen, and he's hard to beat. But my two favorite drivers are Lewis and and Max. I think they're probably the most consistent. And Alonso's cool too, but Lewis and Max are the guys I like to watch. All right, next up is always baked, never fried. Always baked, never fried. Let me see. We actually, from the gram here, we got Off-Road Envy says 27 tonight in Reno. It's that time in Nevada, 27 degrees. Good Lord, man. I'm sorry. Whew. We can't complain. We can't complain here in Georgia. We're not in the 20s yet, so hopefully never. Hopefully not at all. Although they are saying that this year is trending, this winter is trending to be potentially even colder than last year, which is not good. All right, Always Baked Never Fried is up next. And says, just want to say thanks for helping a rookie like me, now able to put down some 10s or 20 on my Bermuda here in Southeast Georgia. Very, very welcome. Always Baked Never Fried. Here's the thing. We were all rookies at one point. We're all like just trying to figure this lawn care thing out, at one point in our journey. So yeah, always happy to help out and to answer questions and do anything I can to help set you on the right track, because awesome lawns are awesome. They're good for everybody. They're good for the neighborhood. It's a sense of pride. It's fun. It's a fun hobby, right? There's way worse things you can be doing with your time than working on your lawn, right? Am I right? I think I'm right. All right, Jacob Arceo is up next. He says, hey, Big Ron, I sprayed prodiamine mid-October. If I apply granular prodiamine in December, would I be going over the annual limit? Depends on the rates. Depends on the rates that you used. I don't know what rates you use with the liquid prodiamine. If you didn't say what kind of grass you have, let's do the experiment. Let's say you sprayed prodiamine on Bermuda grass and you sprayed it at the rate of, let's say, 0.80 ounces, right? So 0.8 of an ounce per 1,000 square feet. The annual limit for Bermuda grass for prodiamine is 0.83 per 1,000. So yeah, if you apply a granular on top of that, like a couple of months later, you're going to likely be exceeding the annual limit. Now, if you applied liquid prodiamine and you did it at half the rate, so you did like 0.40 ounces per 1,000, and you also applied granular prodiamine a few months later, you're, again, as long as you're not going crazy as far as your application rate with the granular, you're unlikely to exceed the annual limits. So it depends. The answer is it depends. It depends on how heavy you went with the liquid app when you did it, and how heavy you're planning to go with the granular app when you do that. If you look at the numbers of what you've done so far, you'll know if you've got anything left on the table for your next application. If you're, the thing is, the nice thing too, Jacob, is if you happen to go heavy with your, or you went on the higher end of the rates with your prodiamine app, you can always switch to another pre-emergent. You could go with, if you got Bermuda grass, you could go with Spectacle Flow. As far as like warm season pre-emergent, really tough to beat this. You could use dithiopyr. There's tons of different options out there for pre-emergent in the event that you went heavier on prodiamine. That doesn't allow you to do any more in the next 12 months. So the answer is it depends. It depends. Next up is Terry Pineda. Terry Pineda is up next. She says, hi, Ron. Sunday, we start diving into cold weather. Last cut tomorrow. Is it safe to put down Pillar SC with RGS and some liquid iron in the backpack sprayer afterwards? Kentucky bluegrass in the Chicago area. Yeah, that would be okay, Terry. So Pillar SC, I like that. That's actually one of the top talking points I was going to discuss this on the live stream tonight is, we're at the end of October. So as far as your second fungicide application, your second preventative fungicide application for the fall, this weekend would be a great time to do it. It's when I'm going to be doing my fungicide app. And if you want to put some RGS in there, no issues with that. A little bit of liquid iron. Again, as long as you don't go too crazy heavy on the rates, I don't see any issue with that either. And and the nice thing about, from what I understand, I think RGS needs to be watered in, Terry, and Pillar SC also needs to be watered in. So yeah, so you're good to go. If you want to do that combination and spray your lawn this weekend, I think that would be absolutely fine. And good job, good job. We're actually gonna clap it up for you. It's good. I'm glad to see that you're ahead of the game here on your preventative pre-emergent, or you're on the calendar. You're following the program. So for any of you guys that are looking to prevent or reduce the chances of snow mold, pink snow mold, if you have warm season turf, you're trying to reduce the chances of spring dead spot next year, a preventative fungicide application in the fall is a good thing to do. It's cheap insurance. So this weekend, I'm going to be doing my second fungicide app for the fall, and that's going to really be it as far as inputs into my lawn for this season. So I'm gonna get my fall fungicide app out, and then that'll be it as far as preventative measures. So if you can get a fungicide app down, this weekend, within the next week or so, that would be a good thing. A good thing to do. We carry a bunch of fungicides on the golf course lawn store. We have a Pillar SC, like what Terry's talking about. If you prefer granular products, we carry a product called Headway by Syngenta. It's an excellent fungicide. The nice thing about both of these they have two modes of action, meaning both Pillar SC and Headway G have two different fungicides, two different classes of fungicides within the product. So they're both, I believe it's 3 and 11. For both Pillar SC and Headway G. So if you like liquids, go with Pillar SC. If you like granular, go with Headway G. And if you don't like either of those and you want to use a different fungicide, that's fine too. But the idea is it's a very good idea to put down a preventative fungicide at this time of year. It's just cheap insurance to give your lawn the best chance as it goes to bed, as temperatures get cooler, and also it's going to give you put you in a much better position for next year when it does come out of dormancy. So good job, Terry. Have fun this weekend. Let me know if you have any other questions, but sounds like you are on the ball. You got it all figured out. So get out there and have some fun in the lawn. Nice thing about Pillar SC is that it's easy to apply to, right? There's only one rate. It's 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet. So as far as measuring it out, super easy. 4-gallon backpack sprayer, 4 ounces of Pillar SC over 4,000 square feet. So very easy product to measure out and then apply. Next up is Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy's in the house. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Looking forward to another live stream. Nothing but love from Florida." Cool, Sean. It's cool. Is it hopefully you're part of Florida where you're not lawns aren't checking out? That's one cool thing about Florida. For the most part, yeah, your lawns slow down in the wintertime, but it's not like here where our lawns go dormant and turn brown, to where when I post pictures of my lawn in like December, and folks up north look at those pictures and says, "Why is your grass dead?" Well, I don't understand. Why are you posting pictures of dead grass? I'm like, it's not dead. It's dormant. And like, why are you striping dead grass? It's not dead. It's dormant. I'm just trying to, even though it's dormant, I'm trying to work with what I got. I'm trying to make what I got look good. All right, come on, work with me. And you guys don't have to deal with that in Florida, or at least if you're in southern Florida, you don't have to deal with as extreme dormancy as we do here in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, the northern part of the country, or more north than you guys are in Florida. Thanks for checking in, Sean. Appreciate you as always. Corey Boney is up next. He says, "Got my first soil test back." Before we read any more, got his first soil test done. We're going to applaud that. I like it. Good job. He says, "And I'm very low on potassium, on phosphorus and potassium. About to have highs in the 40s next week. Is there anything to add for phosphorus for winter adjustments, or should I just adjust next year and add the potash?" As far as adding phosphorus and adding P and K, I don't have as big a deal. That's not much of a problem, Corey. What I wouldn't want you to be doing is adding a high nitrogen fertilizer right now. So at a minimum, a fertilizer with potassium this time of year is a good idea. If you can find a fertilizer that has low nitrogen, like no or low nitrogen, and then has enough phosphorus and potassium that would help amend the levels in your soil, I'd be fine with that too. But what I don't want you to do then is go out and apply like a 24, 27, 24 or something like that, right? I don't know if that even exists, but I wouldn't want you to put down like 21% nitrogen just because you're trying to also boost your phosphorus and potassium levels. So P, okay, K is okay, like high nitrogen this time of year. I'm not a fan of doing that. There are people that do it, but I'm not a fan of doing it. I think it's not worth the potential negatives that can come if you, if your lawn happens to respond badly to it. So at a minimum, a high potassium fertilizer like the Stress 12024 would be a good option. So I can show you here. So if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and you go to our lawn fertilizer section, like the 12024, that would be a good option to close out the season. You could even use the 14714 if you're looking to add a bit of phosphorus to the soil as well. But I really like a higher potassium fertilizer. I really do. I'd almost, I'd really like to really move you more towards this. And if you want to put some potassium in the some phosphorus in the soil, if you can find like a standalone product, there's one. Super Phos, which I forget the name of the product, but there is a standalone phosphate product that you can apply that is that is just phosphorus. It's like a 33% phosphorus product, if I can remember correctly. Let me look into it, Corey, and I'll get an answer for you. But the answer to your question is, as long as you're not doing a bunch like a high nitrogen input, if you will do potassium and phosphorus, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. So and if you also conversely, if you want to wait till next year to start building up your phosphorus levels, I'd be fine with that too. But potassium, I'm a big fan of doing a higher potassium fertilizer as you close the season out. I think it's a good thing for your turf. And good job again on getting your soil test done. Because here's the thing. Had you not done a soil test, you wouldn't know this. You wouldn't have this information, right? You'd be going to the lawn, be going to sleep, just all you thinking everything is great, or you just continue about your way, just feeding the lawn, or just guessing. But now you actually know. So at a minimum, you know you can do a potassium input now, and then for next year, you already got your program put together. You know, hey, next year I'm gonna be whatever I'm putting into the soil as far as my granular fertilizer, it's got to have some phosphorus in it. So that's the reason. That's a perfect example of why soil testing is so important. Good stuff. All right, so we have a super chat. Let me get down here and grab this really quick. This one is from Mr. Lance F. Thank you, Lance.
Super chat received.
He says, yeah, buddy, Lebanon 12-0-24 showed up today and applied just a few hours ago. Last night was our first frost on the full Reno of 365 SS. Perfect timing. Can't wait till spring. Thank you. Awesome, awesome, awesome job. Thanks, Lance. It's almost like that was timed, right? It's almost like, you know, Lance's super chat talking about the 12-0-24 and the previous question. All kinds of works together, right? Good job, Lance. You did a good thing getting some potassium in the soil prior to the lawn going to bed, and now you can just relax and do whatever it is you like to do over the fall and winter months while the lawn is checking out. And because you, our first super chat of the evening, which by definition makes you the highest super chat of the evening, you, sir, are now our show sponsor. So Lance F., your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate the super chat, and good job on getting your high potassium fertilizer down, the 12-0-24. It's good stuff. It's been a very well received product, and I'm glad that you're happy with the results you're getting with it. Very cool. Next up, we got Mr. Robert Rainey in the house. He says, good evening, everyone. The rye muta is growing strong. Cooler temps coming in next week. You know what, Robert? I didn't queue up your pictures, but I could probably find them really quickly. I'm going to show folks that are thinking about doing rye overseed or different. Man, that looks fire. What they're missing out on, what I'm missing out on. So if we want to live vicariously through Robert and see how a lawn could look, my man went out and he gave me two different options. He says, hey, which one do you think looks better? I had the diamond stripes, which I think look pretty good. The double wide diamonds. I got to make sure I get it right. Not just diamonds, but double wide diamonds. And then also I said, man, I'm personally a fan of the checkerboard pattern. So he went out there and did that and sent me a picture of both options. So you guys can decide. You know what? Let's we can take a vote. We can help Robert out. So this is Robert's lawn. This is picture one. This is the diamonds, which we've already seen. That looks good. You know, the stripes we all love. The double, plus 10 points for the double wide stripes. So that looks good. And then picture number two, which again, my personal favorite, not that I'm trying to bias you guys at all, but picture number two is that checkerboard action. Now you've got, kind of like when you go to the optometrist, what do you guys think? One or two? One or two? Actually, you know what? We'll put a poll up. Let's do that really quick. Why not? We can have some fun tonight, right? It's a slow time of year. We can have some fun. So let's see. The question is, which stripe pattern is better? Stripe pattern do you prefer? All right, so diamonds, if I can spell, and then that checkerboard action. All right, so there you go. Diamonds and checkerboard. So there you go. We will put it to the people, Robert. So the poll should be running, I think. No, I'm not. That's not true. It's running now. I'm gonna get rid of this guy, so you guys should see it now. Which one do you guys think? One or two? One or two? So again, I'll show you guys one more time. There are the diamonds. There's a checkerboard. Diamonds, Checkerboard. Now, here's the thing. Even though you guys might be quick to say checkerboard, don't forget the fact that the thing is with the checkerboards, he did double wides on those too. So in both cases, we got to add some points for the double passes on this. You guys can weigh in and see which one you guys like better. Again, I personally think that this literally looks like a chessboard. That looks incredible. My personal favorite. All right, moving on. While you guys argue about that and talk about that, we will move on. Robert Rainey says, good evening, everyone. Again, the rhyme is looking good. Thanks so much, Robert. And then next up is Jared. He says, I wasn't sure if I could get as low as I wanted, but I appreciate that feedback. That's why I asked, and I won't break my back then. Yeah, I would not want to tell you to get out there with a string trimmer, man. A string trimmer as a way to scalp your lawn, just not, I mean, if that's all you got, if that's all you can do, that's all you can do. But I personally think it would be worth, if at a minimum, renting a mower to scalp the lawn versus getting out there with a string trimmer. One, you're going to do far less injury to the lawn. The result is going to be better, and it's going to be far less backbreaking work as far as the cleanup versus if you went out there with a string trimmer and then have to go out and rake the entire lawn. That is going to be that is the actual definition of not fun. Raking an entire lawn after you got like tons of grass clippings and debris all over it. Like that is one definition of not fun. All right, Chris Grimm is up next. He says, how soon can you use fungicide after a full renovation? New grass seed and starter fertilizer. So fungicide really shouldn't negatively affect your renovation project, Chris. So let's say you did your renovation in September, the beginning of September, and you want to do a fungicide application now, there'd be no issue with that. The big thing, as always, when it comes to any inputs going into your soil, is stick to the proper application rate. So if you're using Pillar SC, 1 ounce per thousand, no issues with that. If you're doing Headway, it's 2.3 pounds, 2 pounds thereabouts, a little over 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet is a preventative rate for most of the diseases that it's labeled to control. And that's what I would say. Yeah, there's really, as long as you're sticking to the rates, there's really no negative to doing a preventative fungicide app. So good stuff. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. And you didn't tell us, man, what kind of renovation did you do? What kind of grass? What are you working with? You left out the most important detail. Like what'd you do in your reno? But yeah, just again, as long as anything else, stick to the rates. If you're out there mowing it, you're out there already fertilizing it, then yeah, fungicide is no issue. Again, the thing to kind of just elaborate on this a little bit more, the one thing that I am most you want to really be the most careful with whenever you're talking about new turf is when it comes to herbicides. Like insecticides, for the most part, if you're sticking to the label rates, are not going to cause injury to your turf grass. Fungicides, same thing. If you are sticking to the label rates, and especially if you're applying it from a preventative standpoint, are not going to cause any injury to your grass. But herbicides can and will if the grass is very new, you get a little heavy-handed. That is where you can start running into problems. There are some herbicides like pre-emergence, you don't want to use that at all on brand new grass, right? So it depends. So herbicides are the one thing that I'd say be more careful with, but fungicide, insecticides, as long as you stick to the label rates, you're going to be just fine. No cause for concern there as well. All right, let me see. Alfred NV says number 2, Derek Jeter, LOL. Yeah, see, a lot of you guys are feeling number 2. I think the poll is still running, but we'll see here. We'll let it run for a little bit longer, maybe to the top of the hour. How about that? We'll give folks the option here. I think checkerboard is winning, is ahead, but you never know. The diamond crowd might pull ahead here as the stream continues to progress. All right, Terrence Stamps is up next. He says, good evening, all. And of course, Ron, well, thank you. I appreciate that. So he said, everyone and me. So I'm glad I'm included. He says, don't forget to hit the like button on the stream while you're here. Definitely, guys, it's a free way to support the channel. It really does help out a lot. So if you guys can hit that like button, if you haven't as yet, please do so. It's it's a free way to support the channel and the live stream. So if the 90 of you have not yet hit the like button, please do so. Really do appreciate it. 2 Trillas up next says, happy Friday, Ron and Stripe Action Gang. What's going on, 2 Trilla? The Trilla in Manila. And then Isaac Momperouse is up next. He says, good evening, gentlemen and gentle ladies. Doing a little late night spray. What you spraying? You spraying at night? Okay. All right, Isaac. I see you. He says, getting ready for the Halloween festivities, man. Listen, so you talk about someone that's competitive, right? So you couldn't wait till tomorrow. You're like, Halloween is the 27th, 29th, it's the end of the month. I want to make sure if I'm gonna do my iron nap, the green's gonna be popping really good. So I mean, I could do it tomorrow morning, but I'm gonna do it tonight. So my man, to make your lawn look as good as possible for Halloween, you're out there spraying it tonight. Respect. You're more dedicated than I am, Isaac. So very, very cool. He says, I hope everyone is enjoying the night with a drink. Smash the likes. Thank you so much. Yep, you guys, tonight I'm just doing, this is just an Arnold Palmer and some mint tea in here as well. So I'm sure you guys are drinking more fun stuff than I am, but I can't do that because then who knows? Who knows what might come out of my mouth then, right? Who knows? All right, Jared George is up next. He has another question or comment. He says, LOL. I'm absolutely want to incorporate lots of stuff. I've done plenty of insecticides, fungicides, and soil amendments, but it's all local store stuff. Just asking about your products. Top 5. Okay, top 5. Okay, so my top 5, the carbon kit counts as one because it's like there's 3 products in it, but it's like one thing. So that I'm gonna count that as one. So top 5 products would be a proper granular fertilizer. So in my case, it would be Humic Max, the 901C carbon kit, Primo Max, so I'm at 3 right now. Essential G. Ooh, so I got one more coupon, one more I got to punch. And then Nutrizolve. I think that's what it's going to be. Did I already say that? So Humic Max, the 901C carbon kit, Primo Max, got to have that. Like this, I almost just put Primo first. Got to have this, got to have Primo. So Humic Max, 901C carbon kit, Primo Max, Essential G, and a micronutrient. In my case, Nutrizolve, final answer. That is what I'm going with. Hold me to it. You heard it here first. All right, so I'll show you because I've got it already up. So Humic Max, that would be thing 1. This is like your foundation. Primo Max, because I don't really need to say anymore. Just, if you know, you know. The 901C carbon kit, this counts as one because even though there's 3 products in there, it's one thing. So it still counts. So that's like, it's my third one. So 1, 2, 3. A micronutrient to give that little extra pop to the color, micronutrient, Nutrizolve, I like that. And then if we go over here, you got to have Essential G. It's also foundational. So Essential G, Humic Max once per month, everything else twice per month. Gorgeous. It's a recipe for success. That would be my top 5. That would be my top 5. And really, that is the 5. I'm trying to think of anything else, Jared. Outside of that, the other inputs that go into the lawn are just preventative. So it'd be like a preventative fungicide, preventative insecticide, and then my pre-emergent. You know what I mean? So if you're talking about regular inputs, that's it. That's what I would say to go with. That's my top 5. So if you have 5 coupons to punch and they all have to be used for making the lawn look green, making it look incredible, we're not talking about herbicides, then you could do what I'm doing with those 5 products. So good stuff. Very, very cool. Next up is Vahid Navi. Hopefully you are doing well, Vahid, in the Great White North. He says, happy Friday. Thanks, Vahid. Thanks for coming and hang out. And let's see, do we have anyone else here on the gram? Let's see. Alfred Envy says, Robert Rainey has a cool yard. He does. And the thing is, Robert is that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I always, some people say, I'd hate to be your neighbor. Robert as a neighbor, man, even for me, there'd be so much pressure, man. Because you gotta understand, Robert has like the prism gauge. He's got a drone. I don't even have a drone. Like the drone shot that you guys see in the intro for the live stream, like that trailer, like Alex has a drone and he filmed that for me. So Robert's got a drone. I mean, he's not afraid to oversee it. I mean, he's just, he's, as far as a level of commitment, again, here's the thing. Having him as my neighbor would make me step my game up even more, but he would be that guy that just would make you feel very inadequate with your lawn. So yeah, Off-Road Envy. It's good that he has his area in Alabama where he is, and he's, he can create perfection in his space without putting pressure on anyone else directly. Like he puts pressure on us, but it's only through the live stream, right? We're not having to like walk outside in the morning, like off to work and look over to our right and see like this, this beacon of perfection. So there is that. All right, next up is Jacob Arceo. He says, St. Augustine. Cool, Jacob. What was your question earlier? So I can see if I can revisit that. Because you asked a question. You asked, what did you ask? And I said, I'm not sure what kind of grass you have. Yeah, I think it was around, so you did Prodime. Oh yeah, so you did you have St. Augustine grass. I don't know. I don't know the rates for prodiamine off the top of my head for St. Augustine. I believe they're lower than Bermuda grass. I think, you know what? Why don't I just look? Why don't I just look? Versus guessing. Why don't we just look and we'll just know then? How about that, right? So with Bermuda grass, I know your high end is 0.03 ounces per thousand. And when it comes to, you know what, we can just do this live. I'll pull it up. We can all look at it together. How about that? Let's just do it live. So weed control, and if we search for pre-emergent and prodiamine, and I have a label here. There it is. And if we scroll down till we get to the table that shows what the rates are. So I stand corrected. It's the same thing. It's Bermuda grass, Bahia grass, centipede grass, kikuyu, so pretty much all the warm St. Augustine grass, even tall fescue. So 0.83 at the high end and 0.36 at the low end. So yeah, so if you, as long as you stayed away, as long as you were closer to this point, to the 0.4 range, Jacob, you still got some meat on the bone as far as amount of active ingredient you can still put into the soil. But if you were up here, like if you went pretty heavy, then you're gonna need to switch to a different pre-emergent. You're not gonna want to put any more prodiamine in, and that's cool. See, so we all know 0.36 to 0.83. That's the correct rates for Bermuda grass, Bahia grass, and even tall fescue. Very nice. Good to know. Knowing is half the battle, right? Knowing is half the battle. That's why labels are awesome, because they give you the answers to the test. All right, next up, so I can find out where I left off. We finished up with Jacob saying St. Augustine. All right, next up is Jared George. He says, so Ron, am I wrong for catering to growing Bermuda even where I live? It seems like the right thing to do for multiple reasons other than the local availability of products and support. So Jared, what part of the country are you in? If you try to grow Bermuda grass in a cooler climate, I mean, you can, but it's, you know, your period where the grass is going to be looking good is going to be shorter than it would be, say, in the southeast, you know? So whereas our grass comes out of dormancy in March and starts looking good in the late April, early May timeframe, if you're somewhere further north, you know, you could be a month later before your lawn comes out of dormancy and really begins looking good. So it really depends on where you are. Like I know of, like I have some viewers that have zoysia grass and they grow that in New Jersey, right? And that wouldn't necessarily be my first choice or first area to grow zoysia, but you can do it. It's just your season is going to be compressed compared to what you have here in the southeast. So I wouldn't say you're necessarily wrong. It really depends on why. If you like Bermuda, and if you're fine with a shorter season, then, and you're also fine with you're going to have to, you know, for the most part, order the products that you used on your lawn online, then yeah, there's not really a whole lot of negative to it. And really, outside of herbicides, there really shouldn't be that much, Jared. You know what I mean? So like locally, let's say like, you know, you're budget constrained and you don't want to order a bunch of fertilizer online or for whatever reason, right? Like the same fertilizers that you use on cool season grass will also work on warm season grass. The same biostimulants will work on both grass types. Primo Max will work on both grass types. Really, it's herbicides, insecticides, same, fungicides, same. It's really herbicides are where you have to be careful. You know, so your local area might, if it's primarily cool season grass in that area, you know, that's something you may have to order. But outside of that, you really should be able to find a lot of what you need to make the lawn looking good locally, I would think. You know what I mean? So hope that helps, George, Jared. It really depends on you. Depends on you and what you like. All right, guys, so we got like 5 more minutes before we close out the poll on which looks better. If any of you guys are joining the stream late, just recently, and you're wondering, what is this poll about? So we're taking a public count or public opinion on which stripe pattern looks better on Robert's lawn. So this is pattern 1. We should note, first of all, that there is in both cases, the stripes are double wide. So you have to have a 10-point bump for that because it's extra work. So on the diamonds, we see double wide diamond stripes, looks good. And then next we have the piece de resistance. We have the checkerboards in doubles, which looks, again, my personal favorite. So you've got this one or this one. So you guys can weigh in on the poll if you have not yet voted on what you guys think is the best looking stripe pattern. Give Robert some feedback. All right, so next up we have Gregory Collins. Gregory says, large trees removed, stumps 4 to 5 feet ground, wow, so big trees. He says, filled with screen dirt and smoothed to the surrounding or spread to the surrounding areas. Major mushrooms filling the area after a few days of rains. Mushrooms, good or bad? They're not really necessarily good or bad. They just are. So if you've got the fact that you had tree stumps that were ground, there's likely still some decaying material in there, like the old parts of tree that are still in that area. So that is a recipe that mushrooms like. You'll see mushrooms in those locations. Nothing that I would really worry about. Once you sod that area or you plug it and you have grass growing in there, it should get less and less. But right after grinding down trees and you've got a lot of like dead, decaying organic material, there is not uncommon to see more mushrooms in that area than you otherwise may have seen in the past, Gregory. So nothing to worry about as far as that. Mushrooms. The thing that I would say, if you're trying to outside of the area where you have these stumps, if any of you guys are wondering about, hey, I've got mushrooms in my lawn and how do I get rid of them, and I really don't like the way they look. The thing that I have found, it was kind of a byproduct of getting into or adding the cultural practice of turf raking and verticutting, pretty much just managing the thatch levels, the amount of debris in the lawn. Like by doing that, by turf raking the lawn regularly, so once a week, even if you do it only a couple times a month, it's still gonna be better than doing nothing. And then verticutting the lawn to where you're managing the amount of thatch or the amount of debris that's in the lawn, that in itself made a tremendous difference in the amount of mushrooms that I see in my lawn. Like in the back lawn, I didn't see any mushrooms all season, none. The only area I saw mushrooms were on the front lawn where I don't turf rake as frequently because, like, frankly, just running the outlet on the front lawn is kind of a pain because of the slope, and that machine it's a really heavy machine. So as if you're trying to reduce the amount of mushrooms and also just frankly reduce disease problems in your lawn, a natural way of doing that is just by being really good about managing your thatch levels so that you can keep debris out of the lawn. That's going to do a lot for helping with disease and then also with the appearance of mushrooms in your lawn. So hope that helps, Gregory, and hope that sidebar was also useful for you guys as well, for any of you that are super vain and don't want to have anything growing in your lawn other than grass. All right, next up, we have a question here from Instagram. Mayan152 says, when is my Tiff Tuff supposed to go dormant? My Bermuda is still booming green. Much love, fam. So Tiff Tuff does go dormant later. It comes out of dormancy sooner and goes dormant later than, say, like a Tiffway 419 lawn. So when, it just depends. It depends on like how quickly the temperatures drop in your area and how long you have a period with sustained cooler temperatures that will cause the lawn to go into dormancy. But like Tiff Tuff goes dormant, comes out of dormancy sooner and goes dormant later than, say, Tiffway 419. Just like Arden 15 or Princess 77, they have the same characteristic. They come out of dormancy sooner and they go into dormancy later than a Tiffway 419 lawn. So what's happening is completely normal. As soon as you start getting a cold snap and it's consistently cold for a period of time, that's when you're going to start seeing your Tiff Tuff begin to check out. So enjoy it while you got it, is what I would say. Don't complain. Enjoy. A lot of people would love to have the problems you have, Mayan 152. The next question he has is, what do you put down as Bermuda slowly goes to sleep? So for me, I still do a granular biostimulant, so Essential G, I still apply that monthly. And then as far as a fertilizer, I will apply a higher potassium fertilizer as my winterizer fertilizer to close out the season. So the fertilizer that I like to use is the Stress 12024. It's a higher potassium fertilizer. That's a great way to shut things down as the lawn begins to go dormant and just put the lawn to bed until next year. So hope that helps. Great questions. Congrats on, it's kind of like a side, what that is, guys. Here's the thing. Mayan asked the question, but I'm gonna tell you in lawn speak, let me translate that to you guys. That's like a subtle flex is what that is. That's what that is. I mean, when he says, hey, I've got this Tiff Tuff lawn Bermuda and I don't know, it's still green and dominating. Everyone else around me is brown. What am I to do? How long is it going to be like this? He's asking the question, but he's not really asking the question. It's like a subtle flex. He's like, that's what that is. We realize that, man. So it's cool. Congrats on the awesome lawn. And I'll send you the link here to where you can pick up the 12024. I'll send it to you here right now in the chat. So let me grab that. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm sending to him, and this is the link. There you go. That's where you can pick it up. He's in there laughing. Says, my fault, gang. LOL, repping North Carolina. Even more so, right? He's saying, hey, yeah, I'm further north than you, and my lawn still looks better than yours. See, again, making a comment, asking a question, but it's really a subtle flex. It's like someone that goes to the gym and says, hey, is it normal for me to have this six pack? I mean, I know I've been in the gym a lot, but it just seems I got these like this defined six pack on here. Is that normal? Can you look? It's a subtle flex. It's the same kind of thing. So it's like the six. Listen, having a Bermuda lawn still be super green in like late October, November is like the six packs of lawn care, like six pack abs of lawn care. It's a flex, is what that is. So enjoy it, Mayan. Hopefully that link works for you. If you need anything else, let me know. Appreciate the comment. All right, Vahid Navi is up next. He says, I have a question about a tree around the lawn. My friend has a good lawn and sometimes better than mine, but he does not know why when the leaves start to come down, his lawn looks so bad. Yeah, so the question you're asking is, I think, is if you have leaves on the lawn, why does his lawn begin to look bad when that starts to happen? If you allow leaves to fall on the lawn and stay on the lawn for an extended period of time, they can smother the grass. So as far as the grass being able to get sunlight, being able to get air, the chances of you increasing the likelihood of you having disease problems go up if you allow a lot of leaves to build up on the lawn. It's just it's you're smothering the grass. It's no different than, I mean, it's not necessarily as bad as covering the lawn in like dark plastic, but it's a barrier essentially that you're putting on the lawn, which is blocking it from getting sunlight and just cause a host of other problems. Like when you have rainfall, Vahid, the lawn isn't going to dry out as quickly, which again can lead to disease problems. So if you're a part of the country where in the fall, you have a lawn where in the fall you have a lot of leaves from nearby trees, you want to get that stuff off the lawn. You don't want to let it sit on the lawn for extended periods because it will lead to problems. So I hope that helps. You can pass it on to your neighbor or a good friend that has questions about why his lawn looks bad whenever the trees begin to the leaves begin to fall on it. Something else too to consider is, as it starts to get cooler and cooler, depending on your grass type, the grass starts to slow down, which also, if it's being smothered, its ability to recover from that stressor isn't as good as, say, in like August, September timeframe, when we're just entering fall. There's still plenty of sunlight. There's not leaves trying to smother the grass. So it's a combination of weather and the fact that he's leaving debris on the lawn for an extended period of time, it sounds like, is what's causing the problem. So great question, Vahid. Thank you so much for that. And be sure to pass the feedback on to your friend. All right, so we're at the top of the hour. We will now get the answer to Robert's question as far as which is better, diamonds or checkerboard. So the people have spoken, the poll has ended, and the answer is at 82% say the checkerboard, 17% say diamonds. We had 52 votes, so pretty good sampling of the folks in the live stream. So yeah, there you go, Robert. Overall, if you are going to enter a contest at some point with your lawn, it seems like the crowd would say that checkerboard would be the best way to go forward. So hope that helps, sir. And thank you guys all for participating. It makes it more fun. Next up is Chris Grimm. I think Chris Grimm, he says, how long should you wait between applications of fertilizer on newly renovated lawn after second mow, or 3 or 4 weeks? Tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass mix, Virginia. Okay, so when you're out there mowing it, Chris, you can begin feeding it. So what I would say is, you've done your renovation. Let's say you did your renovation in, like, say, September timeframe, right? And then the beginning of October, you begin mowing the lawn. You can do your feeding then, and then as far as granular fertilizers, I like to do that every 4 weeks. So I don't know how long you're going to have a growing season in Virginia with your cool season grass, but every 4 weeks is the frequency that I would use for granular fertilizer inputs. When it comes to liquids, you can do that every 2 weeks. So you could do a granular once per month, and then you could spray liquids every couple of weeks, and that's going to produce a really nice result as far as color and consistency of growth. So hope that helps. If you'd like some feedback, it's actually two blog posts I'll share here. If you'd like some feedback on how to do that, of one way I like to do a feeding program for a lawn, it's called spoon feeding, like what I described, granular and then liquid every couple of weeks. I've got a blog post here on the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and you go to resources and then our blog, and you scroll down to the second page, you're going to see this blog post on why you should start spoon feeding your lawn, and it covers that topic that I was bringing to you in detail. Like, it talks about how to use granular and liquid fertilizers together to produce a really good result in your lawn. So there you go. So at Chris, there is the blog post on spoon feeding. And for you, Vahid, you had the question about for your friend about the leaves causing issues. So if you just go to the first page, there's going to be a blog post on there's one on winter lawn care. So this is a good one on managing diseases in your lawn. So this would be thing 1 for you, Vahid. That would be thing 1. And then there's another one that I'll send to you here shortly that also is specifically on your fall lawn care guide. I believe I have that one under the knowledge base. Yes, here we go. So it would be this. So if you go back to resources and under the knowledge base, the most recent one is the Winter Lawn Care Comprehensive Guide to Lawn Care. So this talks about winterization, your mower, feeding the lawn, if you got cool season grass, overseeding, irrigation, things you do to your irrigation system to make sure that it survives winter well, protecting your lawn from diseases and pests. In there, we also talk about keeping debris off the lawn and then lawn equipment maintenance. So I will send you a link for this as well, Vahid, so you can share this with your buddy as well that's into his lawn, wants to know why he's having problems. So there you go. You got 2 links. There's link 1 and then link 2. Cool. All right. Zidar says, actually, I'm going to get down here and get his real quick. Zidar says, I think your bias has swayed the vote. Maybe, probably a little bit. But I mean, I think, again, it's opinion. But visually, I think, I don't know. Maybe if Robert had done, I mean, the diamonds look good too. But man, I mean, come on, man. This checkerboard is just, I don't know. That's clean. You know what it is? I think with the checkerboard, visually, it's just more visually interesting. Like the diamonds look nice, but it's pretty much what you're seeing is like stripes in one direction and stripes in another direction. Whereas with the checkerboards, it creates like multiple different colors, and there's more. It looks the checkerboard looks almost like 3D. I think that's why I like it more. And you're right. I may have me sharing my opinion may have swayed the vote, but I think that most people would find the checkerboard to be more visually appealing than the diamond. So, all right. Well, thanks for the comment, though. Anyway, Zidar, and next time when I put out a poll, I will not share my thoughts before. Because to your point, I probably did influence the results somewhat. Next up is Chris Grimm. He's back with another question. He says, actually, let me make a note of Chris's comment. Chris is back. He says, any ideas on keeping cats from tearing up my newly established lawn? I put down cayenne pepper and it's not working. That's a new one. I've not heard of cats really digging up a lawn. I mean, dogs, yes, dogs like to dig, and other like rodents like moles and rabbits and squirrels, but I've not heard of cats digging up your lawn. I don't know. I mean, if you can know what you can do to really keep them out of the lawn. If you can get a dog? Get a dog. I mean, cats are pretty tough to keep away. I mean, they're what you're doing as far as the irritant, like cayenne pepper. I don't know what else you could put out in the lawn that would make cats not want to be around. But it's also a first. I've not really heard of cats being a problem child when it comes to digging up a lawn. That's normally like a dog or mole or some other rodent type thing. So I don't have an answer for you on that one, Chris. I am sorry. I have to look into it though. Wouldn't have thought that, because I do like cats. I'm a cat guy. I don't have any cats, but I do like cats. I think they're kind of cool. Like all kind of cats, not just like house cats. But I think cats they're a cool animal. Gregory Collins says checkerboard all day. So See, Gregory thinks the checkerboard looks good to Zidar. Granted, I probably influenced it, like you said. And then everyone is saying across the board, number two. LNS says number two. C Hill says number two is fire. Brandon Henry says two. Nice work. Fahid two. Robert Wall. Here's the thing. Even someone that doesn't back Georgia, that doesn't back the Georgia Bulldogs, like a Clemson fan, even he thinks the number two is better. So there you go. It's not even just me, right? So everyone, all these folks have really good taste. I agree. I think that the checkerboard overall, most people are going to find that appealing over the diamonds. So glad to see that you're around, Robert, and hopefully that all is well with you. Next up is Matthew Berge. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He says, hey, Ron, I sent an email last week if you're still power raking or verticutting this time of year, and if so, how often? I am not. I'm not verticutting this time of year. The last verticut I did was the end of July leading into August, and then as turf raking, no, I'm not doing as much. I'm not doing it this time of year. Whenever the lawn fully goes dormant, Matthew, if I just really want the stripes to look, when the lawn's fully dormant, I want the stripes to really pop, I'll get out there with a turf rake, really just from an appearance standpoint, because it really makes the stripes pop when I do that. But this time of year, the lawn really isn't growing that quickly. I'm mowing it once a week, and when I do mow it, hardly anything is coming off. So as far as the need to turf rake it, it's just not as necessary as when it's actively growing. Like once April through August, September timeframe hits, like that timeframe when you're out there mowing it several times a week, that's when turf raking has a lot of benefits. Verticutting, really, I do that 3 or 4 times a year, something like that. So May, June, July, if you want, maybe August, but this year I only did it in the end of May, the end of June, the end of July. So I only did I only verticut 3 times. And so this time of the year, I'm not turf raking. When I start doing it, it'll strictly be just because from an appearance standpoint, just because I like the way the lawn looks after I'm done turf raking it, not because it really needs it this time of year. You have another question where he says, also, I'm wondering, why are shorter cut lawns more susceptible to fungus? Yeah, so that's a good question. So what it really is, Matthew, is that you're injuring the lawn when you're cutting a Bermuda lawn shorter, say like a Bermuda or a zoysia or ryegrass lawn. To maintain the lawn at a shorter cutting height, you have to mow more frequently. And every time you mow the lawn, you're injuring it. So the likelihood, and you can also think of it as you're creating an open wound every time you cut the grass. And because of that, the likelihood of you having a disease problem is higher versus a lawn that is mowed once a week, or a lawn that's mowed once every 2 weeks. So if you look at, for example, like my type of turf, right, where I'm mowing it 3/4 of an inch. I do a fungicide app, like 2 fungicide apps in May and June, and then another 2 now in October, November, and that's pretty much it for the most part. If you look at a golf green, which is mowed every single day, they're spraying fungicides on greens every 3 weeks. Every 2 to 3 weeks, they're putting fungicide on the green to help keep disease away. So when you're cutting the grass shorter, depending on the grass type, it is more stressful for the grass to be that short. And then the fact that you're cutting it more frequently, you're injuring it more, you're creating more opportunities for disease to take root. Couple the increased mowing frequency with if you're a little bit too liberal on your fertilization, then you just create conditions where diseases like large patch can become a problem in the lawn. So it's a combination of the fact that it's shorter, and then the cultural practices that's required to keep the lawn looking good short, which is increased mowing, requires that you, it doesn't say requires, but it's a good idea to use fungicide to help prevent disease issues. So that's why you always hear me preach that, one of the most important things, I say, fertilizer, important, soil testing, important, biostimulants, awesome, love them, growth regulator, I sleep with Primo Max under the pillow, love it, right? But the most important thing, the most important consideration to having a good lawn is making sure your mower is sharp. So if you got a rotary mower, make sure that blade is sharp. If you have a real mower, make sure it's properly adjusted and make sure that it's sharp, because every time you mow the grass with sharp equipment, you're minimizing the injury to the turf. Whereas if you cut the grass with a dull rotary mower, you're tearing at it. Like if you ever get a chance to look at a lawn that's cut with a mower that's not been sharpened, you look at the tips of the grass, they're going to be frayed and torn, and that is just a lot more susceptible to injury, to disease, than a grass that's cut with a sharp mower blade, where it's just going to be a clean cut. It's still injury, but as far as the lawn being able to heal and recover from it better, a clean, even cut is better than like a grass that gets cut by being torn by using dull equipment. So hope that helps answer your question as far as why shorter cut lawns are more susceptible to disease. It's more so all the practices that go along with maintaining a lawn short that make it more likely for you to have disease problems if you're not keeping on top of those things. Again, short, if you're mowing short, like I always used to say the lower you go, the more you have to mow. And a buddy of mine he's not a greenskeeper anymore. He used to work on a golf course. He says, really, Ron, a better way of saying it is the lower you go, the more you have to do. Because it's not just like when you're cutting shorter, yeah, you got to mow more frequently. That's obvious. But there's a bunch of other things that start to happen as you start decreasing the height of cut. And the best example of that pretty much everyone would understand are golf greens. Like greens are cut every day on a course. On some courses, especially when they're getting prepared for a tournament, they may get cut twice in a day. And because of that, greens get fungicide every few weeks, whereas the fairway, other parts of the course might get fungicides a couple times a season. And it's really down to the additional stress that particular turf sees from being cut really short, and it's all the mowing that goes into that. So hope that helps, Matthew. Great question. Really do like it. And if you have any other questions, feel free to follow up. But that's a good one. I have not had that one before. That's an excellent question. I like it. Okay, Robert Rainey says, the double wide checkerboard does make a great grid pattern for spraying products. That's another point. Great point, Robert. It's really easy to get your spray pattern right because you got like these guidelines. You can just walk up and down to make sure that you're making your applications nice and even. Case in point, it's another reason to go with the checkerboard, right? And then always baked, never fried. He is in the diamond pattern category. I get it. I like it. I like it. And then next up, we have Robert Wallace. He says, happy Friday, Ron. When should I stop spraying biostim stimulants on the lawn? So for liquid biostims, when it goes dormant is when I personally shut that down. There's people that still spray biostimulants year round. Granular biostimulants, like Essential G, I do that year round. The liquids, once the lawn loses color, it's not like it's literally brown, it's dormant, you're not mowing it anymore. That is when I shut down applying like the carbon kit. I don't apply the carbon kit during the time when the lawn is completely dormant. This time of year, you absolutely still could. Like as it's going, like I'm not doing granular fertilizer, but like for example, this weekend, whenever I spray Pillar SC, I'll also spray the carbon kit because the lawn is still green. It's still got color in it. It's not as good, but it's still got color. But when it goes completely dormant, which will likely be, if this weather continues the way it is, the end of November, that's when I'll shut down carbon kit applications. I won't spray any more liquid biostimulants. It'll just be Essential G once per month. So good question, Robert. I really do like that. And you know what, Robert? For this question, because it's related to biostimulants and you got me talking about the carbon kit and Essential G, you, sir, will be our Miramichi Green question of the evening. So what that means is even though, see, you can't say that I'm like being all biased, even though you're not a Georgia fan, which I mean, I really should take away, like I should give you like a sleeveless shirt for that. But even though you're not a Georgia fan, we're still going to give you the full t-shirt with the sleeves. So if you like one of these, you want a greatness from the ground up t-shirt, send me an email here to ron@golfcourselawn.com. I will respond back and I'll tell you how you can claim your shirt. It's a great question. And I think the folks at Miramichi Green will like it as far as when should you stop spraying biostimulants, and you can win yourself one of these bad Mama Jammas. So ron@golfcourselawn.com. You can email me there, and then tonight once I get off the show, I will tell you how to claim your shirt. And again, yours, even though you're not a Georgia fan, I'll make sure that you get one with the sleeves on. I'm not going to give you like a sleeveless shirt. Make sure you get a full regular t-shirt. Just like the Georgia people do. So you're gonna be taken care of. Don't you worry. All right. So next up, we got Gerald Jennings. Gerald Jennings, and actually, you know what? Let me make a note of that because I need to make sure I need to remember who I gave the shirt to, so I don't before I get too far down the path. So 120. All right. Cool. All right. Next up is Gerald Jennings. He says, "Hi, Ron. Can I do 2 granular fungicide apps, or should the second app be liquid?" You can do 2. It's a great question, Gerald. So I'm a fan of doing, you can do 2 of the same fungicide apps in a row, and then I would switch it up. So there are people that use the same fungicide over and over and over again. I don't think it's a good idea because you increase the likelihood of you having disease problems. So say, for example, you went with Headway G, right? You wanted to use Headway G for your fungicide application in the fall, and you did Headway G already in October. we're at the beginning of October, now we're going into November, and you want to do another fungicide app, you could absolutely do Headway G again. Now, if you had a situation where you had a disease problem in your lawn, and then you did 2 fungicide apps subsequently, and then that wasn't correcting the issue, like you weren't seeing a response, that is when I would switch to a different fungicide, and not even a different fungicide in the same family. You want to make sure that you would go to something like people like to use Eagle. Another one that I like to tell people to rotate to is Clary's, the 336F. That one is a group 1, I believe. So it's a different mode of action as far as how it attacks diseases. So if you were dealing with a fungicide problem in your lawn, it was like an ongoing thing, I would do 2 of the same group, the same family, and then rotate to a different group, and then you could go back. So that way you're kind of bouncing back and forth. You're not giving the disease a chance to get acclimated or develop resistance to any particular one of the fungicides. So hope that helps, sir. Great question. You can do the same one twice in a row. I don't see any issue with that. It's but I wouldn't use the same frac group. I wouldn't use the same group more than more than 2 applications. Once you get to the 3rd one is when I would rotate to something else. It's just cheap insurance. Some people will say that's not strictly necessary, but I think it's just cheap insurance to go to a different group versus using the same one over and over and over again. All right, so we got a couple of questions here or comment here from Instagram, more of a comment from Offroad NV. He says, we have a lot of Bulldog fans on our street, LOL. Well, 2 of us and the neighbors down the street with great turf. So the Georgia fans have the best looking lawns. Okay, I get it. I got it. Right. I mean, here's the thing. This college football season has been crazy. I mean, Georgia, I believe, is still undefeated. I believe so. But it's not been, I gotta tell you, the wins haven't been decisive. They've not been as good as they were. Like last year was just straight domination. It was just like they just steamrolled everyone for the most part. This year, it's not been that great. So I don't know if it's going to be a three-peat. It could still happen. I mean, they're still winning, right? But it's just at some point, this slow start thing that Georgia likes to do is eventually gonna catch up to them. So, but I'm glad to hear that you are representing, even in Reno, that the Georgia fans have the best lawns on the street. I'd like to hear that, Offroad Envy. Thank you for letting me know. Gerald George is back. He says, top dressing after scalping and aerating in the spring, a good idea? I want to level some spots. How many inches can I lay down safely at once? Okay, so the thing 1 is top dressing after scalping and aerating in the spring is a good idea? Sure, yes, you could do that. You could top dress. I'm a fan of top dressing when the lawn is beginning to actively grow, so I tend to do my top dressing, Jared, in the late April into May timeframe. The lawn just recovers faster if you wait till then. As far as how heavy to put it down, you said inches. We're not even doing it. We ain't even do inches. We're not even doing plural of inches because we're not even going to do an inch. I am a fan of doing top dressing at 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch on the heavy side. What that's going to do is you're not going to smother the grass. You're going to give it you're going to have it help it recover faster from the top dressing if you limit the amount of material you put on the lawn to about 1/2 inch, because that way you're going to have the tips of the grass blades exposed, so they're still going to be catching sunlight, which is going to help the lawn recover faster. If you get out there and you sand cap the lawn, you completely smother it to where all it looks like is a beach. With Bermuda grass, you can get away with that. Like it's really hard to kill Bermuda, and Bermuda will tolerate that. I'm not a fan of doing it for a couple of reasons. 1, like I said earlier, it takes a lot longer for the grass to recover, for the lawn to recover if you do that. And then 2nd, if you have any kind of heavy rainfall, the top dressing material is going to get washed and moved all over the place. If your lawn is level, not so much, but if you have any kind of a slope to your lawn, it's not going to stay in place. If you limit the amount of top dressing you put down to a 1/2 inch on the high end, you still got those grass blades sticking through, and the grass kind of holds onto the sand. You know what I mean? So even if you get like heavy rainfall, it's far less likely to move around versus if you have the entire lawn submerged in 1.5 inches, 2 inches of sand. Like if you do that, you're gonna have a mess on your hands. And again, I'd much rather you do 2 or 3 top dressings in the season. So you could do one in April, May, another one in June, and another one in July. I'd rather you do it like build up or fix the areas that need addressing over several top dressings versus doing one super heavy one all in one go. So that's my thoughts on the matter. Hope that helps. And yes, as far as top dressing after scalping and aerating. Top dressing right after scalping is not strictly, I wouldn't say those need to be right next to each other. So you could scalp earlier and then wait a little while to top dress. But as far as top dressing after aerating, I do like to do both of those together. So I think there's a lot of benefits to aerating the lawn and then right after aeration, top dressing, because it's going to allow that top dressing material to integrate better with the existing soil profile. So scalping and top dressing, those two you can decouple those. Those don't have to happen at the same time. But aerating and top dressing, those I like to see closely done together. So if not on the same day, within a couple days of each other. So you could aerate like today or yesterday, and then you could top dress the following day if you want. So I hope that helps. And inches, I would say no. We can't, as far as how many you can lay down, how many inches you can lay down safely at once, I'm going to say half an inch. So not even 1 inch, half an inch is what you want to limit it to. You're going to get a good result with that. You're going to like how the lawn bounces back. If you have, like we have one viewer on here, I haven't seen him tonight, but Adam, he has a zoysia lawn and he went very heavy with his top dressing mix and the lawn just never grew through it like all season. He went very heavy. He kind of like sand capped the entire lawn and it got so bad to the point that he just, he didn't want to wait. He just did a renovation. He just started all over. He just ripped the sod out and just put down fresh sod again. That's an extreme approach. Like the zoysia would have recovered, but it just goes to tell you that especially if you have a slower growing grass type, if you go too heavy on as far as your top dressing, as far as how thick you put it down, you're just doing more harm than good. At a minimum, you're just making it take way longer to recover than it needs to. So I have beat that horse to death long enough. We will go on to the next question. Hopefully I've convinced you to limit your top dressing to half an inch. Plus, it's less work. It's another point, too. There's another benefit to doing it that way. It's less work to do half an inch of top dressing than an inch or 2 or 3 inches of top dressing at one time. All right, Larry's up next. He says, Ron, I am sharpening the blades for my rotary mower. Should I mulch or bag on this first mow? Depends on you. The lawn's going to look cleaner if you bag your clippings, but if you mulch your clippings, you are returning, nutrient to the soil. So you're returning organic material. You are, any fertilizer you put down, you're getting more use out of the fertilizer. If you look at some studies, they say that if you mulch your lawn over the course of a season, it's almost equivalent to you putting down another fertilizer app. Now, I don't know how they actually measured that, but that shows that mulching over time, you are getting more out of the nutrients that you're putting into the soil if you mulch. From an appearance standpoint, though, it looks better if you bag your clippings. So it's really up to you. I'm not going to be mad at you either way. Since last year, I have bagged not bagged, but I've got the grass catcher on. I've caught the clippings on my lawn religiously. That's the way I've done it. I've not been mulching clippings back into the lawn for the last 18 months, last year and a half. So starting last year, I started doing it over the summer, and I haven't been doing it ever since then. And the lawn just visually looks way better. And then you're just putting less debris into the lawns. You're decreasing the likelihood of if you're mowing regularly, clippings themselves really shouldn't be a major contributor to thatch levels in your lawn. A lot of people will say, if you mulch your clippings, you're going to cause a lot of thatch buildup, but it still is debris. It still is going to be dead material in the lawn, and you're going to have this brown stuff in the lawn that's competing with the green. So just again, if you want your lawn to look its absolute best, bag your clippings versus mulching them. And especially if you have a way to get rid of them, if you have somewhere like in the back where you can dispose of the clipping, like a compost pile or something like that, that's even better. So you have to kind of think about it when you go into when you go into bagging or collecting all your clippings, then you have the problem of disposal. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of considerations there. The lawn will be fine either way. It really just depends on you. Next up, we got a super chat from Mr. Jimmy Miller. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Appreciate that. I didn't see your super chat earlier, but thank you.
Super chat received.
He says, happy Friday, Ron. Robert's lawn is insane. I agree. He's that guy. He says, he sent me a few teaser pictures and my FOMO got the best of me. Now I have 75 pounds of seed in my garage and we'll be throwing it down after Halloween. You see what you did, Robert? You see, you know what it is? Bad associations spoil useful habits. There you go. So you start hanging out with the guys wearing the leather jackets and stuff. And next thing you know, you got to get a leather jacket. You're going to start wearing, riding motorcycles and doing all this stuff that's not necessarily good. See what Robert's doing there. Okay, well, keep us posted, Jimmy. I'm sure you're gonna have fun with it. Robert is a the thing is, Robert just wants someone else to play with. Even though you guys are in different parts of the country, he's supposed to have someone else to compare notes. Since I chickened out on him and didn't do the overseeding, you can be his battle buddy as far as overseeding your lawn. So I'm glad that you took on the challenge and that you're gonna be there with him as well too. You're gonna fill the void that I unfortunately could not. All right. Next up is McNasty Motorsports. He says, Ron, I was on the fence to go rye again this year, pre-emergent down on a whim, so no rye. Now I'm dreading seeing my Bermuda go dormant, although about 7 inches of rain in 3 days has Bermuda looking thick. Thicka. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, McNasty. What you got to do, you almost need like an accountability partner. You need someone, if you decide you're going to do your ryegrass overseed in the fall, like around July, August timeframe, you need to take your pre-emergent and then give that to somebody. Give it to someone and say, hey, listen, if I call you, no matter what, do not let me have this until springtime. Okay, I've committed to the rye overseed. I'm gonna have a moment of weakness where I'm gonna try and put down pre-emergent, but I need to do my rye overseed. So I'm handing you these. Here's my bag. Here's my bottle of Spectacle. Here's my bag of Prodiamine. Hang on to this. No matter what I say, do not let me have it till springtime. Some of us need that, McNasty. I need it. I don't have. I couldn't help myself. I just had to put down Spectacle. I still did it. So maybe I need like an accountability partner. I'm telling you what I need to do for myself to be able to pull off like a rye overseed in the fall, because I couldn't. I broke under the pressure. I was like, man, I really don't want to deal with POA in my lawn. It's just, and do I really want to have to mow in the fall? It sounds like a pain, and there's a lot of. I need a break, and I started having all these these thoughts, and I didn't. I chickened out in the end. So yeah, you might need like someone to give your pre-emergent to and tell them no matter what. Someone's trying to quit, trying to quit smoking or trying to quit drinking or trying to quit some other, trying to quit eating ice cream, whatever it happens to be, and you have someone that's like your accountability partner, you might need that with your pre-emergent. You may need to hand it over to somebody else. All right. So Robert Rainey says, at Jimmy Miller, let's go. So see, Robert's thrilled. He's super happy he has a battle buddy now to hang out with his overseeding project. Okay, Adam Carter is up next. He says, Ron, do you put down Essential G when the grass is not growing during the winter, or do you just use it during the spring and summer? I do it every month, Adam. So the history of it is, at this point, a couple years ago, I used to use a product called Carbon Pro G. And from the time I started using it that summer, I want to say it was maybe the summer of 2020, maybe it was 2019. I forget which one it was, either 2020 or 2019. It all runs together. Once I switched from that product to Essential G, every month my lawn has seen Essential G, has seen a granular biostimulant, because where I live in the country, it doesn't get cold enough that the ground ever freezes. And that's really the litmus test you would want to pass. I mean, budget, obviously from a budgetary standpoint, if you can afford to do it, you can apply Essential G every single month as long as the ground doesn't freeze where you are. The compost is the organic material that you're adding to the soil is a good thing, but then also the biochar, which helps your fertilizer work better and longer. That builds up in the soil over time. So that's why I do it every month. And yes, even during the winter months, I still apply Essential G, because we don't really have like a real winter here in Georgia compared to say like Jersey or Chicago. In those places, you wouldn't do it because the ground gets covered in snow, and so in some parts of the country they don't see the actual ground until like springtime. So in that case, obviously you wouldn't apply Essential G. You wouldn't apply any granular product to your lawn. So yeah. So hope that helps, Adam. Hope that helps. It's a great question. If I put down Essential G when it's not winter, you know what, Adam, and you know what? Even though we gave Robert one, because you asked that question around Essential G application, like how often can you use it, when can you not use it, and I gave a fairly concise but to the point, fairly concise answer. Then you know what, you will also be, sir, you're also going to win one of these Greatness from the Ground Up t-shirts, courtesy of the nice folks at Miramichi Green. So if you want one of these, you might not be a t-shirt guy, but if you are a t-shirt guy and you want a free t-shirt, again, it's a quality t-shirt. I look at the cotton's it's a nice t-shirt. It's good for lawn care. If you want, send me an email to ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I will tell you how you can get one. I can probably just email you at the end of the show, because I know what your email address is, because we email quite a bit back and forth. But just to remind me, so it's the top of my inbox, send me an email, say, hey, Ron, it's Adam. Give me my free shirt, please. And I will tell you how to get your free shirt. So I think that's a good question, and one that I commonly get as far as how often can you apply essential G or really any granular biostimulant, and when should you not do that? And you gave me the opportunity to say that. So there you go. You are Marucci question of the week. And then same thing for Robert, even though he's not a Bulldogs fan, he still could get a shirt anyway. All right. Next up is Jared. He's back again. He says everyone here has Bermuda in their lawn, but it's a mix of cool and Bermuda. I just decided to be done with fighting it. 100% Bermuda front lawn now. Backyard is still coming along. Okay, I got you. So in your part of the country, folks have a blend. They got Bermuda and insert fescue, ryegrass, whatever it happens to be. Yeah. So I mean, in your case, then Jared, if you're not the outlier to where warm season grass is a thing where people actually grow it. So the way you're saying that, are you saying that people there actually have Bermuda in their lawns and they're like, yeah, my lawn is like part Bermuda and it's part whatever, something else? Or is Bermuda considered a weed in your area? Because that would be a distinction to understand. But at any rate, it doesn't sound like you're doing it wrong. If you want to go 100% Bermuda, that's fine. And really the only consideration that you have to make is when it really comes around herbicides. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful. Like most herbicides that are, or so in my opinion, the better ones that are really good for warm season grass will injure or kill cool season grass. So that's the thing you really want to pay attention to, and you might not be able to find that locally. All right, next up is Star Brighter says, the world is in turmoil and all I can think about is the scallions growing in my new lawn. Yeah, I mean, we are definitely fortunate to have the first world problems of worrying about our grass and that type of thing. But yeah, I get it, Star Brighter. If you got wild onions in your lawn and you have you got warm season grass, then Celsius will take care of wild onions in your lawn. All right, next up we have Colton Stageberg. It's a cool name, Colton Stageberg. You know what, Colton? You're the first Stageberg that I have ever met in my entire life. I don't think I've ever said the word Stageberg before until now, so you're a first. He's the best Bermuda sod to install in Northeast Texas next spring. Depends on which one you like. Tifway 419 is good. Tif Tough is a great Bermuda. Tahoma 31 is like the new kid on the block that everyone happens to be really loving. So I mean, if it were me, you could go, I would say, between Tif Tough or Tahoma 31. Like those are both great. They're both they both look great. They both Tahoma 31. The blade is probably a little bit finer than Tif Tough, but they're both great grass types. So I would say if you have a sod farm nearby you, where you can go by and look at them and say, oh, I like the color of this, or I like the texture of this one, then you can make your decision based on that. But any of the Bermudas will work fairly well. Tahoma or Tif Toughs are the ones that I would look into. Tifway 419 would work as well too. But I mean, if you're going out and you're going to be installing it, meaning it sounds like you want like more of a premium Bermuda, then you could go to one of the, like, again, Tif Tough or Tahoma 31. Although Tifway, there's nothing wrong with Tifway 419. If you look at Sunny Bermuda, if you watch his YouTube channel, Sunny Bermuda's lawn is Tifway 419 and it looks great. So don't hate on Tifway. Even though it's very common, it's not common Bermuda, but it's a very common hybrid. It's probably the most common hybrid Bermuda. It can still look really good if you take care of it. All right, so next up, we have Chris Grimm. He says, thank you, Ron. You are very welcome, Chris. Thank you for the question. Good questions makes for good commentary, right? So if you guys don't ask good questions, then I can't offer great commentary. All right, next up we have Colin. Colin's in the house. CPIMS. He says, what's up, Ron? I'm a little late to the live stream tonight, but we are here. Nice. Like it, Colin. Glad that you're here. He says, watching the World Series and, of course, the live stream. Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad that you have the live stream maybe on an iPad or a laptop and you got the World Series on. I'm going to admit that I didn't even know the World Series was starting tonight. I do know that it's the Rangers and I think the Diamondbacks, right? I think that's who's in it. So I do know that, assuming I got that right. But yeah. So who are you backing, Colin? You want the Rangers or you want the Diamondbacks to win? Star Brighter says cats and hot peppers. This is this is great. This is great. Mean. Yeah, I mean, cats are pretty smart, those Star Brighter. That's why I was saying, as far as like a dog maybe is going to be your best deterrent, something to chase them. But cats are pretty smart. I don't think that that's going to be enough to keep them out of the lawn. I don't know if that's really going to work. Next up is Jason Sewell. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Still a fan of Prodiamine, Princep, and Image Combo. I am. It's a good combination. Just about time here in South Texas, and was going to use that. Appreciate you. Yeah. So if you want, so Spectacle Flow again, in my opinion, we're gonna go through the whole spiel. Spectacle Flow is still, in my opinion, the best pre-emergent for, especially for the fall, for warm season turf. Like this, by far, is my favorite. Bee's knees, right? A good second place, a close second place is Princep, Image, and Prodiamine. It, as far as control against Poa annua, works really well. The area that Spectacle has the nod over that combination is it does provide a little bit better control than that combination does for Poa, and it also lasts longer. So you do an application of Spectacle, and you're really good until springtime. You know, especially if you went at the higher rates. If you went at like 0.20 ounces, closer to that rate per 1,000, like in September, you're really good until spring. If you went at the lower rate, like what I did, like I did a tenth of an ounce. Wow, a tenth of an ounce per 1,000. I'm going to do another application here in the end of November, early December, and then that will carry me all the way into the spring. But with the Prodiamine Princep Image Combo, if you're doing an app now, you're also going to be pretty good, man. You're going to be close. You can get pretty good control as far as keeping Poa annua out of your lawn. So to answer the question, yes, I am still a fan of the combination. Compared to Spectacle, I like Spectacle more than the combination because it lasts longer. And if I have to explain to someone how to use Spectacle, it's only one product, one application rate versus 3 products and 3 different application rates you have to get right. So there's just more to mess up if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. But you can absolutely get a great result if you do that combination. So I've done it before in the past, and it works absolutely great. Produces great results. As a matter of fact, Jason, if you probably already have this, but if you want to see how I have a video on that, on how I mix Prodiamine, Simazine, and Imazaquin in the fall to help to pretty much create like poor man's Spectacle Flow. I'm trying to see if I can find it here really quick. I might not be able to. It's not. See if I can find it really quick. I have a video where I actually walk through using all this. Actually, you know what? It might be a live stream. That's why I'm not finding it. All right, let's look here. We go to live streams because I know what the thumbnail looks like. It, I don't know. I'll have to. Up, yep, here it is. There it is. It looks like this one. Found it. Boom. It's me making a goofy face, being like, "Hey, don't you want to keep weeds out of your lawn this fall? Look at this cool stuff." It's like that. So that's what I always look for. All right, so this link here, which I'm going to copy, it's like a snippet out of a live stream, covers that. It shows how to do that in detail. So at Jason Sewell, if you want to see Princep, Prodiamine, and you probably already know how to do it, but for anyone else that's wondering what I'm talking about and just want to see what it takes to mix that up, and Image. There you go. So that video will show how I did it a couple years ago at this point in a live stream. All right, next up, let's see what we have here from the gram. A couple folks here that are chiming in. Let's see. He says, BMBGC says, can Carbon Pro G substitute for a poor man's Essential G? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Carbon Pro G is a great product. It's Miramichi Green makes Carbon Pro G for Lesco's Site 1, right? So it's the same product. I mean, they're made by the same, or it's made by the same company. It's not the same product. So the difference between what you're giving up between Essential G and Carbon Pro G is Carbon Pro G is pretty much 2 major ingredients. So it's biochar and compost, whereas Essential G is biochar, compost, reclaimed coffee grounds, humate, and silicon. So you can think of Essential G as Carbon Pro G 2.0. I've said this before, but a better comparison of Carbon Pro G, if you want to compare Carbon Pro G to Humachar, that is a better comparison, or Carbon Pro G to or carbonized PN. So carbonized PN is not a granular, but if you look at the makeup of Carbon Pro G and the makeup of carbonized PN, if you take Carbon Pro G and make it not in a prill form, Essentially, that's what carbonized PN is. So that's the, like, at a high level, the differences between them. So Humachar, carbonized PN, and essential and Carbon Pro G are very similar. They're I mean, I would say they're the same product, but they're very, very similar. Essential G is a newer formulation than all of those products. So yeah. So as far as that goes, if you got a place locally where you can pick that up, by all means, go for it. No worries at all. And then BC says, Ron Henry greater than the World Series. Yeah, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming to hang out. Okay, next we have John Stewart. He says, Ron, can you put down tenacity now in November? Depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you have some weeds in your lawn now that you're trying to control and tenacity is able to control them, yeah, you absolutely can. The thing to keep in mind, John, is that herbicides, as the weed that you're targeting, as a plant that you're targeting grows slower, which tends to happen as temperatures are cooler, the herbicide is going to take longer to work. So can you still use tenacity now? Sure. But patience is going to be the order of the day if you decide to do that. So if you're going to use tenacity, I would absolutely ensure that you use some surfactant along with it. That's going to enhance the performance of the product. And just be patient. Just realize that, spray the weed that you're targeting, the patch of weeds that you're targeting with tenacity, and then don't look at it for like 2 weeks. Don't spray it and then do what most people do and look at it the next day and say, oh, it's not yellow yet. Don't bother doing that, because this time of year, as cool as it is, you're not going to see a response for, I'd say a couple of weeks. So as long as you can do that, you can spray it and just have faith that the herbicide is going to work, assuming you apply it at the correct rates and you use surfactant with it, that will be just fine. It's just going to be slower for you to get to see the results versus if you had done it a month or 2 months ago. It's a great question, John. Hopefully that helps you on your journey to eliminate weeds in your lawn using tenacity. Hope that helps. All right, next we have McNasty. He says, LOL, Ron, we'll be accountability buddies. Well, so what? I'm going to send you my spectacle. You're going to send me your prodimies that we're going to do. We'll have to figure it out. I'm telling you, that's what's going to take. Because some people, some of us just are like, man, my lawn's been weed free for all this time. I don't have to deal with weeds after the fact. And then, so you're going to need that. You're going to need to have to put the pre-emergent under lock and key in the fall if you're serious about doing your fall overseed. All right, Mark Romano from the great state of Hawaii is saying, thanks, Ron. When neighbors ask questions about my lawn, I always say, look up Ron. He'll answer all your questions. I don't know about all your questions, but I can answer a fair number of them. I'd say a lot of the really important ones, the stuff that'll get you on the right track. I can definitely help with that. All of them, that's maybe a bit of a stretch. Mark then says, lean on the like button to make Ron's channel more famous. I appreciate it, guys. It really does help. The way YouTube works, or as far as how the algorithm works, one of the factors is engagement. So whenever you guys like or comment, all that stuff really does help. So and it's a free way for you to support the channel, right? You don't have to buy anything to do it. So I really do appreciate when you guys hit that like button ever so gently. Okay, Adam Cartner says, he says, hey, Ron, I sent you an email about the shirt. Well, that was fast. That didn't take you very long. I'll get it to you. I'll respond after the show, Adam. I'll respond to you and to Robert, assuming that Robert emailed me. I will make sure both you guys know how to get your Greatness from the Ground Up t-shirt. And John Stewart says, by the way, I live in Maryland. Yep, answer still applies. Just be patient. As long as you're going to be patient, you're good to go. Alex Zamora says, how many times a year do you apply Essential G? Does granular humic take the place of carbon materials? So for me, it's 12 times a year. Once a month is when I do it. Does granular humic take the place of carbon of Essential G? No, not really. I mean, humic acid is it's good additive to the soil. It definitely is not going to hurt the soil at all. But the thing with Essential G is the biochar, right? So the carbon in, the compost in Essential G, the reclaimed coffee grounds in Essential G, those will stick around for a while. They stay around for a while in the soil, and they help with their microbial activity because you're adding organic material. But the biochar really doesn't go away. So that's one of the things that you're really, when I talk about applying it monthly, because you're building up biochar in the soil. And that's what allows you to get more out of especially your granular fertilizer apps. You're able to apply less fertilizer and still get a great result as far as nutrient availability for your turf. So does it take the place? No, because they're different. Because unless the humic product that you're talking about contains biochar, it is not a substitute for Essential G. But I say that to say that humic acid is still a great additive. You still should apply it to your soil. Like one of the fertilizers that, I mean, actually all the fertilizers that we carry on the golf course lawn store, the ones that I talk the most about, the ones from Lebanon, these guys here. If you go to Shop and Lawn Fertilizer, all of these contain humic acid. So Humic Max has almost 9% humic acid in it. Both of the greens grade fertilizers have a percent or two of humic acid. And these also contain some kelp. But so all of these contain humic acid. So I am a fan of adding that to your soil, but it is not a substitute for Essential G for reasons that hopefully I did a good job explaining. Andre Taylor says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. How long does that stripe action usually last for? A day, 2 days, weeks? I mean, if you're mowing your lawn, I'll put it this way. If you're regularly mowing your lawn, which you would have to do to maintain the lawn at the height of cut that I keep my grass at, it never goes away. So if you're mowing your lawn at 3/4 of an inch, throughout the growing season, the stripes will always be there because you're going to be out there mowing it every couple of days, and every time you're going to be resetting the stripes. If you did not mow your lawn, let's say you stopped mowing your lawn now and you didn't mow it till spring, they'd probably fade away. You'd probably still be able to make them out just barely, but they're really not gonna completely go away. But during the growing season, they're gonna be there like throughout the entire season. As long as you're regularly mowing, which you would have to, again, if you're mowing at shorter mowing heights, the stripes stay pretty prominent. So yeah, it's a good question, Andre. Yeah, they don't really go away. And what you'll find is the heavier the mower you use. So for example, my Greensmaster 1600 stripes very well. It produces, I think, the best cut out of all the mowers that I have. But as far as like the best stripes, the Allet is by far a stripe king. I mean, that thing is a beast when it comes to laying stripes. Like because it's so heavy that it really promotes the grass all going in the same direction when you make your mowing passes. And because of the weight, it stays longer, and because during the growing season, I'm mowing every couple of days, every other day, because I just like mowing my grass that much. The stripes are just really burnt in, and they really pop nicely, so yeah, the mowing frequency has a lot to do with how long the stripes last, and also the weight of your mower has also weighs in on how long the stripes last. But if you're mowing every couple of days, like what I recommend, especially at the lower cutting heights, it's not really going to be a problem. They're going to stick around the entire season. Not going to be a concern. All right, next up we got C Pims. Colin is back. He says, yes, Rangers and D-backs. Rangers up 2-0 so far in the bottom of the second. I would like to see the D-backs make it happen, but I am a Bruce Bochy fan. I'm going to go on record saying I do not know who that is, but I am sure he's someone that's important in baseball. He says, so I would love to see him win after coming out of retirement. Cool. So yeah, up 2-0. So hopefully any of you guys that were recording it, you didn't watch that part of it, because you'll know that the Rangers are winning so far. So cool, that's good. Texas team is getting it done. All right, Colin is saying going into the third now. Actually, giving us a blow-by-blow, a play-by-play. All right, very cool, Colin. All right, next up is Colton Stageberg. That's a really cool last name, Colton Stageberg. He says, thanks, Ron. It's definitely been between the Tahoma 31 and Tiff Tough. I currently have Tiffway 419 and hopefully installing new lawn at the new house next summer. Also pre-order the Revolution 26 to start real mowing. Nice, man. Look at you. You're doing it all up. We have to clap it up for you, man. Let me give you a dap. Nice. So between those things, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong between Tahoma 31 or Tiff Tough. Now, if you just want to be the new kid on the block, be like, hey, I got a Tahoma 31 lawn because everyone likes Tahoma 31, you could go with that. I mean, it's a very pretty grass type, but Tiff Tough is also a very pretty grass too. So you're not gonna go wrong either way. But if you want the new kid on the block and you have a sod farm nearby that can deliver it to you, then get the Tahoma 31. Why not? You can be one of the cool kids. You can be the cool kids with the cool Bermuda grass and the cool new mower, the Revolution 26. You can be like just cool overall, right? You got all the new stuff. All right. And it's a low-key flex. Kind of like how the guy that was asking the question, May in 152, you use like low-key flex. I've got this Tahoma 31, and the color, is it normal for the color to be this deep green and the grass is really fine? Is that normal for it to be this awesome? I want to make sure I'm not doing something wrong. You can ask questions like that and like low-key flex in your in your questions. You know what I mean? You can do that. So it's another consideration for the Tahoma. Titan is up next. He says, hey, Ron, is it possible to plant seeds and mulch at the same time, or should I wait until after the seeds have come up? So you're asking, is it possible to plant seeds and mulch? What is, I'm trying, okay, so are you asking, okay, can you put down new grass seed and then still continue to mow your existing lawn and mulch? I guess you could. But what most people do, Titan, is they thin out the existing lawn, they sow the seeds, they put down the grass seeds, and then they stay off of it until those new grass seeds begin growing in. You know what I mean? So could you mow your existing grass? Sure, I guess, but most people don't do that. Most people will again, they thin out the lawn, they'll cut the existing grass maybe a little bit shorter. They may even use a growth regulator on the existing grass like Primo to slow down how quickly it grows. They'll put down the grass seed, continue to water that and nurture that and let it start growing in. And then once that grows and it's beginning to establish, then they'll reintroduce mowing. Most people that I know don't mow while they're also trying to get the grass seed to come in. So so hope that helps with the answer to your question. If I'm understanding it right, because I'm thinking that's what you mean. I don't think you mean putting down grass seeds and also putting mulch on the lawn. I think you're talking about putting down grass seed and then mulching as far as you're mowing in the lawn. You probably could without issue, but most people just don't do that. Like if you look, for example, at Larry's lawn here, like if you look at my man here, he's actually got this roped off. So you can tell he's not mowing it. Like he's actually got, this is a lawn that was overseeded with fescue, coming up on 3 weeks now, and he's actually got it roped off. So you know he's not mowing this. So what most people do that are really trying to focus on getting the best result with their seeding project is they do all the prep, they put down the seed, they water it, and they stay off of it until that grass seed grows in. And then they reintroduce mowing. All right, we got another super chat. This one is from Mr. Cedric G.
Super chat received.
The big super chat, $50. He says, Big Ron, happy Friday, big guy. Have some lemonade on me. Turfs up, vert down, stripe action forever. Thank you so much, Cedric. Based on your super chat, sir, I believe you have displaced Lance F. Lance has held it for a couple of hours now. So I think, sir, you are now our show sponsor. So let me get you all set up here. Cedric G, your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I will have a lemonade tomorrow, courtesy of you. How about that? You'll know that I'm gonna have a lemonade with no ice because I like to do it. Now, here's the thing, guys. Kind of a sidebar. We're kind of getting towards the end of the stream. Am I the only one that orders Chick-fil-A lemonade with no ice? Because here's my thing on it. I know I'm probably seeing weird or crazy, but hear me out. Hear my logic. Like you're paying for the lemonade, right? And that lemonade, if you never had Chick-fil-A lemonade, you're missing out. If you like lemonade anyways, like it's literally, in my opinion, the best like fast food lemonade that's out there, in my opinion. So you're paying for that lemonade. Why would you want to displace like area or volume in the cup with ice that you could use for the lemonade? Because the lemonade typically is cold. Like when you get it, it's not like it's like room temperature if you get it with no ice. So am I the only one? Am I in the minority whenever I go to get my Chick-fil-A lemonade that I get me getting it with no ice, that I'm a weirdo? So we'll put a poll for that. I mean, it's kind of fun. Not really related to grass, but you guys can let me know if I'm the weird one. So whenever you go to a restaurant or a fast food restaurant and you are getting your beverage, do you get ice? Do you always get ice? I'll say ice in. How do you take your drive-through? I'll say cold drink, right? Cold drink. And I'll say ice or no ice. So I'll see if I'm the word. I'm probably gonna be the word one on this one. But I like the lemonade so much I don't want to have ice because I can always add ice when I get home or something else, right? Or no ice. Which way do you guys go? So ice or no ice on your drinks. So all right, so there you go, Cedric. Thank you so much for the super chat. I will have a lemonade tomorrow with no ice, and I really do appreciate all the love and support. I am almost positive I'm gonna be in the minority on this one. Most people get ice in their drinks. I don't do that though. I get like no ice. All right, next up is C-Pims. He says, I think I'm going to have to purchase a real mower here in Cali before the year ends, since they are planning on banning the selling of small engine equipment. Shake my head, ridiculous. Yeah, man, if you're going to get one now. Get one when the getting's good. If you're going to get one, Colin, get one with a Honda GX if you can. I would say that, because the Honda GX, Great engine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Briggs, but the Honda GX is a tried and true. It's a bulletproof engine that'll last you a long time. You know, they're known for the reliability. A little bit loud, but they're known for the reliability. So if you're going to go with a gas-powered reel mower, I would say lean towards one with a GX engine. The Revolution 26 is a great option, but if you're going to go with something else, get something with a Honda GX, considering that you're not going to be able to get another gas engine anytime soon, assuming their plan to ban gas-powered lawn equipment goes through. So we shall we'll see on that. We'll see. So no ice or ice. We'll see what folks go with. Ice or no ice. It's gonna be interesting. Next up is he said that's supposed to happen going into next year too. Man. Or you could move to the southeast. You can move to Georgia. We've got a lot of other cool stuff. We got like Augusta National. You can go check it out. You can see like the best turf on planet Earth, in my opinion. You can go see that. Or that I've ever seen anyway. You can go see that. You'll be within driving distance to the Masters. You got a nice mild growing season. Taxes are less. What else is great about Georgia? If you ever want to, find your way around, just know that you're going to be there's a million streets named Peach. There's that. I mean, you can actually look it up. It's actually a pretty fun statistic. If you like Google like how many streets in Atlanta have Peach in the name, it's kind of crazy. Let me actually tell you, it's more than you would imagine. How many streets? Because it's a peach state, and Atlanta have peach. Yeah, peach tree. Yeah, there's 71 streets. So 71 streets within Atlanta that have the name Peach, that have peach tree in the name, which is kind of crazy, right? So that's a thing too. So if you like peaches and you like getting lost when someone says it's Peachtree Corners or Peachtree Avenue or Peachtree Drive or Peachtree Street or West Peachtree Street, you can. That's another fun part about living in the Atlanta area. All right, next up is Matthew Burgess. Another good point I did not mention, but he raises a good point here. He says, if you go too heavy with top dressing compost, you can burn the turf. That's a fact. I've actually seen it done. Talking from experience, $250 water bill to fix it. I aerate, remove cores, top dress with a 1/4 inch of compost. I don't fertilize at least 2 weeks prior. Cool. Very cool, Matthew. So we're a little bit different there, but I am with you on the 1/4 inch of, I say a 1/4 inch on the low end to 1/2 inch on the high end as far as the amount of material. But you're saying straight compost, and I could see that. I could see omitting fertilizer if you just went with straight compost. Whenever I do a top dressing, which is like a leveling mix, which has 30% compost and 70% sand, I will do a fertilizer application as part of the top dressing project. So I will aerate, I would fertilize after aerating, and then I will do what you talk about, which is a 1/4 to 1/2 inch of material on the lawn and call it good. So, but yeah, you're right. If you go too heavy, and literally if you have like a compost that has like pig manure in it or cow manure, any kind of rich compost, and you dump it out in a pile on the lawn and you leave it there for even just like an hour or so. When you move it, you'll have like a burn spot there. Like I helped a buddy of mine top dress his lawn a few years back, and we learned that lesson. So if you're going to go with a compost that has manure in it, especially, do not dump it out in big piles and leave it on the lawn for any period of time. Like you can dump it in a pile, but then you want to spread it as soon as you're done to prevent the chances of damage. So great point, Matthew. Thank you for chiming in with that. Good stuff. All right, C Hill says, no, you're not the weirdo. I only get all my drinks with no ice. We shall see. Larry says, no ice in my beer. Yuck. Okay, first of all, why do you put ice in your? Why do you put? You talking about like, so you have a pint, you put ice, and you're trolling me. You do not have ice cubes in your beer. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that. I don't believe it. He says, C Hill says, I especially from a fast food location, I want my money. That's my point. You see, you're with me. I want my money's worth. So even if you're buying like a Coke or whatever, a Fanta, or you're getting Chick-fil-A lemonade, especially lemonade, that stuff's expensive. Like, I mean, I'm trying to think think about it. Chick-fil-A lemonade per volume is more expensive than gasoline. Like you get like a gallon of Chick-fil-A lemonade is like $11, $12 a gallon. That's more expensive than even race gas, right? So like you want your money's worth. So that's how I think. I'm thinking, man, I don't want to spend money on ice. I want my lemonade, I want my drink. All right. But it's close. I'm sure there's going to be some people that are going to say ice, and people are going to say not ice. So we'll see how far off I'm on this. All right, Matthew Burgess says, always no ice when out, always ice when home. So here's the thing. Now, again, this is going to make me sound weird too. When I do ice at home, I don't do ice cubes. I am a crushed ice guy. Here's why, right? Because again, when you get to the bottom of the drink, and this is like my OCD kicking in. So you get to the bottom of the drink, right? If there's ice cubes in there, like the ice cubes are preventing you from getting all the drink out. This is how my mind works. It's probably flawed. But I go with crushed ice and not too much crushed ice. So like say if I had like this drink, right? Like this tumbler, I'll do like that much crushed ice, like that much crushed ice, because I figure by the time I get to the bottom of drinking what I'm drinking, the crushed ice will be pretty much melted. So I get the benefits of the ice where the drink is cold, but I still get all the drink out. Because I feel like if I get to the bottom of the drink and there's still ice in the bottom of the cup, I failed. Like I'm leaving some drink in the cup. So I know that I'm completely broken in my way of thinking, but I've always been that way. I'm always been like a crushed ice guy because that I'm trying to balance out like the ratio of how quickly the ice melts to me being able to get all my drink out when I get to the end of the drink. So I know that's weird, but that's how I do it. So you guys know something else about me. All right. And then next up, Matthew says they don't trust anyone else's ice ratios. That's true. Because you go to a restaurant and you say light ice, their idea of light ice is not like, for example, if I went to Chick-fil-A and I said, give me a large lemonade, light ice, do you think they're going to put that much in there? They're going to be like, okay, light ice, he means like half full. They're going to get it wrong. They're going to mess it up. So I just don't take the chance. I just say no ice. That's how I roll with it. All right. C Hill says, no ice, only whiskey balls, cubes in my spirits. I get you that. Yep. I normally like mine neat. I am with you on that. Old fashioned, you have to have an ice cube in there, but like for bourbon, I prefer it neat. So we on this, we agree. All right. Star Brighter says, I tried one of those Hondas, worth getting. Yeah. I mean, I think the GX is a great engine. I mean, it's if you can find a mower that has one, it's worth springing for. They're a great engine. Like my True Cut, the only time it doesn't start on the first pull is if I forget to put the choke on. Outside of that, if the choke's on, I mean, literally after like the first pull of the season, like I said, the mower's been sitting in the garage all season long. I literally turn on the power switch. As long as I remember to choke it, first pull starts right up. After not running for like months. So GX is a great engine. Really good engine. All right, we're getting close to the end of the stream. Before we do this, let's see here. So Adam has another. C Hill says, I don't like to water down my drinks, period. Yep, so you're with me on that. And then Autumn Carter says, I know you sell Essential G, but do you know where I can pick it up? I just don't want to wait for it to come through the mail. I want to start using it every month on my front yard on the Xeon Zosia. There's not a whole lot of places, man. We carry it, and I don't know. I mean, Site One definitely won't carry it because they carry Essential. They carry Carbon Pro G. I don't know where locally where you're going to be able to find it because it's not a product that it's not commonly known. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. If you have like a Ewing's nearby, you might look there. You might they might have it. They might have, but I think they also have a product that Miramichi makes for them as well. So as far as finding Essential G, your best bet, to my knowledge, is going to be getting it online. You know, we carry it, we ship quickly. So if you ordered it today, I mean, it's not going to ship tomorrow. It's not going to ship over the weekend, but Monday it will absolutely go out. So that and get you that. So depending on where you are in the country, Carter, if you're on the East Coast, it ships out of our warehouse that is on the East Coast. So if you're on the East Coast, it's normally just a couple of days to get to you. So you won't be able to apply it this weekend, but you'll definitely be good to apply it the middle of next week or next weekend. So there is that. Hope that helps. So let's see the poll. Let's get to the end of the poll and let's see what everyone says here. Okay, so we'll end the poll as far as ice goes. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be highly skewed. And no, it's close. Wow. Okay, so the no ice crowd is 52%. So like we did how many votes? 21 votes. Half of you say no ice, and then half of you say ice. So 47% say ice, 52% say no ice. Interesting. See, I would have thought that I was in the minority. I would have thought that there's no way that most of you guys or gals get like omit ice from your drinks when you go to a drive-through, but I have learned something new. So it's 50-50. That's good. That's fair. Good. I don't feel it's like so weird now. That's good to know. Half and half. All right, next up is Aaron T. He says, howdy, Ron. How often can I put down Headway G granular? Dropped a small rate a month and a half ago. Best time of season to get on a consistent schedule. Great question, Aaron. So as far as fungicides go, I like to do them twice. There's 2 periods of the year when I like to do that. So in the May timeframe, so May and June, I like to do an application of a fungicide. So the month of May, the month of June, that's a good month to do your preventative fungicide applications. And then again in the fall, the month of October and the month of November. So really, as far as fungicide apps, I only do it 4 times a year, and it's broken into 2 parts of the season, like 2 distinct seasons, one in the spring going into the summer, and then one in the fall going into winters when I do my fungicide apps. For most people, you don't really need to do it more often than that. So I would say, this time of year, you could do another application now if you've already done one already, and then call it good until really the springtime, unless you have a lawn disease in your lawn that you're trying to take care of. And if you have a disease in your lawn, then all bets are off. Then you obviously make applications outside of those. But for preventative measures, May, June, and then again in October, November. That's what I find produces good results. It's a good way of keeping diseases out of your lawn while also not spending as much money on fungicides than you have to, right? So hope that helps, sir. It's a good question. I like that. I'm gonna actually make a note of that one. It's a good one. It's not one I've actually had before, Aaron. And in your case, because you already did it a month ago, you can do it again this month. There's no issues at all with doing that. I think it's a good idea. Cheap insurance, I say. Cheap insurance. McNasty Motorsports says, ice in my water / soda, no ice in my whiskey bourbon. I get it. Yeah, it's the same thing, right? You don't want to water it down. Why do that? And then our last comment of the evening, guys, we were ending quickly tonight. It's going pretty slow, but it's the time of year, right? We're kind of just cutting up, having a good time, chatting a little bit about grass, mostly about grass, and also about ice and that type of thing. Mark Romano says, my doctor said to drink more water, so I started using... That's good. So I started using ice cubes. You are following the doctor's instructions. I think he or she likely meant, water already in liquid form. But if that's better than nothing. That's better than nothing. I'll say that. If that's your baby step to work up to drinking just straight water, Mark, then I think the doctor would take that. If you also drink just straight water, that's also good for you too. You know what I mean? You don't want to just only do it with in ice cubes. Starbrighter says, I didn't vote ice. So in that case, with you voting, it becomes 50-50 because it was 52% for no ice, 47% for ice. You would make the 22 votes. I think it would become 50-50 then. So we'll split it down the middle and say half of you like ice in your drinks at the drive-thru, half of you are like, no ice. I want to get all my drink. I'm not paying for ice. So I get it. So it's a different mindset. All right, next up is Dalvin Larry. He says, Ron, are you still cutting or have you retired for the season? I'm mowing about once a week now, Dalvin. So just to keep the lawn looking nice, keep it looking neat. Not much is happening, not much is coming off. The last time I mowed the lawn, I actually mowed the entire lawn last time with the Greensmaster, and I mowed the front and back lawn, and I didn't even full up the grass catcher on the Greensmaster, on the GM 1600. So that tells you how much clippings are coming off, because that's the grass catcher on the Greensmaster is not very big. So to mow 11,500 around that much, almost 12,000 square feet, and not fill up the grass catcher shows you how slow the grass is growing. And I'm not using growth regulator on the lawn anymore. So that's literally just the lawn is just slowed down due to the cooler temperatures that we're seeing this time of year. No Name says, hey, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts, late to the show tonight. You're late, but you're here, so we appreciate you. Thank you so much, No Name. And then Gregory Collins is up next. He says, verticutting, same time as mowing, between mows? Excellent question, Gregory. So verticutting, I like to do once per month, and I will say if I'm planning to mow that day, I will verticut first, and then I will mow afterwards. So mowing always comes after verticutting if you do them on the same day, but they don't have to necessarily be on the same day. I just like to do a cleanup cut after verticutting because it just makes the appearance look better. So in addition to that, if you want to see what I'm talking about, the entire sequence, I will link a live stream to you from earlier this season. It was from end of May, where I verticut, turf rake, mowed the lawn, and then I applied Essential G on the lawn afterwards. So you can see the full monty, you can see the entire process. It's actually a pretty long live stream that I did. And you'll see the entire process. If you want to see it from soup to nuts, you'll be able to check that out. So give me a second here, and I will link it to you, and you'll be able to see that process. Cool. But the long and short of it is, if you're going to be doing it, I would verticut first and then mow, because it makes sense. Because right, if you verticut it, the lawn is going to look, it's not going to look bad, but it's going to look like a bit unkept after you're done with a verticutting. And then a mow after that is going to give it that nice manicured look. So I think, a cleanup cut after verticutting, while not strictly necessary, is a good idea. And let's face it, if you're someone that is verticutting your lawn, I mean, you mowing after a verticut is not that big of a deal. And that link that I sent you there, Gregory, is like the entire process in a live stream. It's almost 3 hours. Almost 3 hours live stream, me doing it live, doing the verticut, the live stream, the turf rake, and the cleanup cut afterwards. You get to see it all done live. All right, next up is No Name. He says, I'm doing a cleanup cut this weekend. Next week, it's going to hit mid-30s at night. Oh, man, that cold? That's no good. And then No Name says, also, Ron cuts year-round, I'm pretty sure. I do. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I don't want to have to mow in the wintertime. But, when I want to get some exercise, just want to think, I'll get the mower out and just go mow the lawn, go mow dormant grass, make it look nice, and then put it up. Yeah, it's just fun, just for me. It's my thing to do. And then Star Brighter says, Mark, you're my hero. I'm sure Mark will love that. And then our final comment of the evening is Mr. Papa Mows Low. He says, good thing about birthdays, dinner with the wife and friends. Worst part, missing your live stream. Hey, man, birthdays only come once a year. Live stream is, for the most part, every weekend. So you're here now. You can always watch it after the fact. And I appreciate you coming in, Papa Mows Low, to come say hi afterwards. I really, really do appreciate it. Well, guys, gals, on that bombshell, we will cue the outro music. Again, this is a great time of year to do your preventative fungicide. We have Pillar SC and Headway G in stock on the Golf Course Lawn Store. It's a great thing to do to help keep your lawn disease-free. So if you guys want to do that and also support the show and the Golf Course Lawn Store in the process, feel free to do that. Thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your Friday to come hang out with us. I will give you guys back the time to go watch your World Series. And as always, I will see you guys next weekend. Take care.